and all the staff members of SF, the Kandaswamikandar College to light the lamp. We know all the staff members.
Ma'am. ரொட்டேட் எடுக்கிறியா? கேஸ் எடுத்துட்டு
I request Dr. M. Krishnaraj, Associate Professor and Head, Kandaswamikandar College, to welcome the gathering.
Respected President Sir, dear Principal Sir, dignitaries on the dais, my dear colleagues, dear delegates, student participants from different colleges, friends gathered over here, a warm good morning to one and all. First of all, as the head of the department and an organizing secretary, I would like to thank each one of you for attending this two-day international conference on language, literature, and linguistics. We are proud and delighted to be hosting the event, and it is my pleasure to speak briefly about this international conference at our college. I feel proud to say that such a conference has been organized by our college for the first time in its history. Just 2 weeks ago, the idea grew in our minds, but today we have realized it. Our partner Comorin made it possible. This could be impossible without the Comorin Trust. We entered into a MOU with Comorin Trust on April 8, 2022. Today we host an international conference at which we have resource persons from different countries. The delegates from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and also from abroad. Today's event has about 200 participants from more than 30 colleges across Tamil Nadu. I thank all the management and the faculty members for such a good gesture. For this conference, we have received 50 papers for presentation and publication from various parts of the country and from abroad. This makes this conference truly international conference in spirit. This conference holds a special value because it is the first conference in the history of our college and the university where the conference is taking place on an offline and virtual platform. The entire event is being streamed live and it is also available on YouTube channel. The conference suggests possibilities, opportunities, creativity, and the colorfulness of literature. Today, many of you get a chance to express yourself in the best spirit of literary competence. It is a time to enjoy and splash of ideas and angles on this platform. I take this opportunity to welcome all. First, I bound to thank and welcome our President, Dr. R. Somasundaram, who has been supporting and granting permission to conduct such programs in our campus. I extend a hearty welcome to our Principal in Charge, who is our leader, guiding us in all our endeavors. We extend a special welcome to our guest, Professor N. Vijay. He is an eminent scholar, a renowned professor, an updated literary critic, and above all, a nice gentleman. When I extended an invitation, he readily accepted and came over here to enlighten you all. Speaking of his merits will take a lot of time. My sister Professor J. Dargeswari will do that work. On behalf of management, our department, and our partner Comorin, we welcome you, sir. We extend a hearty welcome to Professor Regine, Comorin Trust, who is the man behind the successful conference. We extend hearty welcome to our Regine. Please, Mr. Regine. We extend hearty welcome to our resource person on virtual platform, Daya Dizar Nayake, a famous novelist and a poet from Sri Lanka, renowned Professor Dr. Mani Ruzman, Jahangir Nagar University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, an eminent Professor Dr. K. Rajaram, Annamalai University, Chidambaram. We extend hearty welcome to our chairpersons of paper presentation sessions, Professor Sutima Mehta, North Cap University, Gurgaon, Haryana, Professor Moniga, Daulatram College, University of Delhi, Dr. Pankaja Suzek Engel, Srimati Narasimha, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Amaravati, Maharashtra, Professor Dr. Sadak Shah, University of Jammu, Professor Dr. Hanpreet Kaur, MAM College, Cluster University, Jammu, Dr. Ruth Angley, Okay. Christian College, Bangalore, Dr. J. Mohammad Ghani, Mohammed Sadat College of Arts and Science, Chennai, Dr. M. Khalai Nadia, Mohammed Sadat College of Arts and Science, Chennai, Dr. E. Anita, St. John's College of Arts and Science, Kanyakumari, Dr. H. Saradada, the Pailamillat College for Men, Chennai. They will participate and do their work on online platform. We are honored to have Professors Parthiban, Subramaniam, Velusamy, Divya, Malavi, and Sindhil from CN College, Europe, and Sangeeta from NGM College, Pollachi. The result of their support and motivation is this conference. We extend a hearty welcome to them all. We extend hearty welcome to my fellow teachers from other departments of our college. Each one of them has a role in this event. As head of the department, it is my duty to welcome my department colleagues, both aided and unaided. It may seem odd to welcome my own department, the host, but it is worth mentioning their effort in conducting this program. Our special welcome goes to Professor Divya, Professor Selvaraj, Mr. Sivasankaran, Mr. Periyasamy, and my colleagues and friends, Shivakumar and Saravanan, for this special occasion. I extend a hearty welcome to press. Above all, I find the pleasure in welcoming dear delegates and student friends because they are the ones who made this event a grand success. Like, let me remind you, is made of special memories. I am sure this conference will one for you a cherished memory. Let me remind also all of you that true achievement of programs like this conference is the exchange of ideas and establishment of new relationships and friendships that paint our lives with variety of colors. Such programs allow us to think beyond our daily spheres of influence and think of a world beyond immediate surroundings. It expands our minds, gives us a great capacity to think, and enables us to push ourselves to a new standard of excellence. All this would not be possible without an organizing team and their voluntary efforts to make the conference happen. I congratulate and thank all the members of the organizing team, my dear students of English literature, for their selfless effort to make this event success. Life is made beautiful by sad moments, like what is happening here right now. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. The influence of the principal can never be erased. I request our principal in charge, Dr. Loganathan, to deliver the presidential address.
Very good morning to all. At the outset, my sincere thanks and gratitude goes to the management, Dr. R. Somasundaram, MD, President cum Secretary, Kandaswamikandar Educational Trust, P.Velur, Namakkal, and Principal, Dr. N. Tangaraj, Kandaswamikandar College, for providing me an opportunity today act as a principal in charge the grade 2A international conference conduct the Department of English organizing the very clever one. So the 2-day international conference, I would like to begin the presidential address of this 2-day international conference conducted by the Department of English of our college in cooperation with the Comorin Trust India and Comorin Publisher India by adoring the feet of the great Vallan Nanjai Hidayat Shankara Sri Kandaswamikandar, respected and Honorable Dr. R. Somasundaramaya, President of Kandaswamikandar Trust and Secretary of our college, respected Dr. N. Vijayadurai, Associate Professor and Head Retired, Department of English, Chikanakar College, Erode. In this junction, I say very few words about today, the chief guest, Dr. N. Vijayadurai. Dr. N. Vijayadurai is simple and humble personality. He is a very good researcher. He is a very good academician. He is always in our service of our college, in always the close relation with the scholars, students. He is always fight for rights. He is a straightforward personality. is the helping mind to the students' community. It is a great personality today acted as this inaugural today first day inaugural session chief guest. I like it very much. I am very happy on behalf of our management and principal and department of English. I wholeheartedly welcome and appreciate. Congratulations, Professor. The speakers of the virtual mode of conference, esteemed novelist and poet thriller, Dayan Ishansky from Sri Lanka, respected Dr. M. Manirusmam, Professor, Department of English, Jahangir Nagar, University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, respected Dr. K. Rajaraman, Professor, Department of English, Annamalai University, Senate member of Cape Comorin Trust, India, and Cape Comorin Publisher, India. Beloved Dr. M. Krishnaraj, Associate Professor and Decade, Department of English, Dr. P. Shanti, Associate Professor of English, Dr. J. Tarageshwari, Assistant Professor of English, Dr. M. Samim, Assistant Professor of English, Mr. R. Kavita, Assistant Professor of English. Heads and faculty members of our college and other institutions, various participants from Tamil Nadu, India, and all over the world. Good morning to one and all here. Language is a virtual part of human connection. Although all species have their ways of communication, humans are the only ones have mastered with cognitive language communication. Language is what makes us human and how do people communicate. By learning their language, you have become talented with the complex system of words, structure, and the grammar of effectively communicate with others. Particularly by learning a foreign language, you can learn customs and how people interact in a society. Language helps to preserve the cultures too. Literature allows a person to keep back in time and learn about life on earth from ones who walked before us. It helps us to understand where we come from, how we evolved, guides us towards the future, and adds meaning to our lives. Linguistics is the scientific study of language and focus the systematic investigation of the properties of the particular languages as well as the characteristics of language in general. In short, linguistics refers to the systematic study of a language, whereas literature can be the study of written works within a language. I congratulate Department of English for conducting this two-day international conference on language, literature, and linguistics in collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust India and Cape Comorin Publisher India. This kind of conference will motivate the college students and bring out their hidden talents to become successful graduates. Once again, I wish the organizers for the successful conduct of the international conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Here is one such leader, our beloved secretary, sir, who leads us to our all aspects. I request our secretary, sir, to facilitate the function.
Good morning to one and all. Dignitaries and the nation of today's respected chief guest of the day and Mr. Reggie from Cape Comorin Desk and principal in charge and my professors and delegates, participants, and students. I feel it's extremely great pleasure to be present here on this very memorable occasion. The suggestion to discuss is utilize the conference, focus on this presentation on these papers from the expertise, take advantage of the knowledge, they are going to share their ideas amongst you So please take this opportunity to improve your knowledge. So once again, I thank the Comorin Trust for the co-organizers for the kind gesture for this meeting. I thank HOD and all others for the success of the function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. B. Shanti to give the concept note of the function. Respected dignitaries, renowned scholars, enlightened professors, enthusiastic students, and eager audience, I welcome you all on this auspicious occasion. This international conference on language, literature, and linguistics aims to bring together all the scholars, educators, and the research scientists to share their experiences and ideas in the present scenario about language, literature, and linguistics. And this conference aims to put forward the current trends in teaching English language and literature and linguistics by promoting researchers and thereby improve the quality of teaching English language and literature. And so it provides a very strong platform to share their experiences and ideas of learned scholars. And so this language, literature, and linguistics has become a vital part in the field of education. Literature is no longer bound on paper and print. It has entered into a new era of technology and internet. With the help of so many apps for spelling and grammar checking, students can write error-free English. They are able to communicate easily, and they are able to learn any language in that case with the effect of this social media. So technologies in language learning have transformed the student from an passive listener to active partners. So language and linguistics, literature have to be seen in the new light and analyzed with the new perspective of this social media. Technology can be one of the ways to create a real and enjoyable atmosphere for young language learners and increase their language awareness. Technology also lets these young language learners gain language skills outside classroom when they interact actively. And so the emergence of the internet and social media networks have resulted in a rapid increase in a new types of written languages in blogs, tweets, YouTube, and Facebook. We are exposed to a myriad of different personalities, perspectives, and approaches when we use social media to communicate. So, development in English language, literature, and linguistics have to be seen with this perspective learning and the impact of social media and the above. So I hope this conference would definitely make the students and the scholar very strong personalities and will be exposed to new perspectives of learning literature, language, and linguistics. Thank you once again. Thank you, ma'am. Now it's the time of exchanging the pleasantry. I request our secretary, sir, to honor the chief guest with a show. Now I request Dr. M. Krishnaraj, Associate Head and Professor, to honor our Dr. Reggie with your show.
வராதீங்க. ஓகே தானே? ஓகே தானே? வியூ எல்லாம் ஓகே. அதான் கேட்டுப்போம் ரெகுலராக.
To introduce our chief guest.
Good morning to everyone. I welcome our respected President and the Secretary, Principal, the Chief Guest, the faculty members, the scholars, and dear students on and off the dais. This is my pleasure and privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Professor Dr. N. Vijayadurai, Associate Professor and Head, retired, Department of English, Namakkal College, Europe. He had been a teacher of English for 32 years. His interested areas are language, literature, and criticism. His research area for doctoral thesis is Canadian literature, fiction. His career highlights are: he has been an examiner for Business Language Testing Service during 2013 at Anna University Colleges, Coimbatore. He has been a certified speaking examiner of a British Council for Cambridge University, and he has been awarded Best Paper Award at a national conference in Gender Studies held at P.Velur College for Women, Europe. Since 2016, he was a reviewer for the International Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences at P.Velur College for Women. He had been vested the responsibility of a NAT coordinator of a CNC Erode and got grade A for the college in 2015 to 16. He was entrusted to evolve an audio book of oral exercise for higher secondary classes in 2017. He has attended many professional training programs, workshops, seminars, and conferences in and around India. He has presented innumerable papers in national and international level. He has delivered talks on various topics on language and linguistics and literature. He has authored 3 books. He has also produced research scholars, and in short, he has worked for the students' community since his appointment from 1989 to till his retirement on the year 2020. And still he continues the noble cause to the community. Here I thank our head of the department for bringing such a certain personality to our conference, to grace the conference. Sir, we all feel proud to have you as our today's chief guest, and we, the meticulous audience, are waiting for your exuberant speech. So the management, principal, faculty members of English department wish you good luck for your future venture. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. To be inspired is great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. I request our chief guest, Dr. Vijayadurai, to deliver his special address.
Respected correspondent of the college, respected dynamic, active, long time HOD of AKC College, Professor Dr. Krishna Raj, respected principal in charge today, my friend, and also the department staff, especially the fellow Comorin, Professor Tarakeswari, and Madam Shanti, Kavita, Professor Shameen, and my dear colleagues from Namakkal College, Divya, Malati, Parthiban, Veluswamy, and the teachers from various colleges, conference delegates, and students of the AKC. I thank for the organizers for having given me this historical occasion to the first international conference of this college. Even though I am out of service today, it was his generous extension of the invitation to me from Professor Krishnaraj. So I thank first of all for the invitation. Possibly you would have been suggested by my dear colleague Velaswamy. So I must thank Velaswamy also. And when he asked me to give a plenary session, he gave a free choice to choose my own topic. And I chose that for two reasons, because I had two papers in my post-graduation in 83-85 on translation. And later, I had an inclination towards doing translations, and I have just completed a book of about 233 pages. And I am doing the second revision now. So I thought I would do that. I asked him whether it is a topic included, and he said, yes, sir, it is there. It's for you to choose your own topic, he said. So I have chosen this. Of course, many speakers prior to me have mentioned the power of language communication, especially the role of English. So it's very important to know an application aspect of English. We all learn English, and most of you here teach English. And it is all in a very mechanical way, a very restrictedly utilitarian way. So this is something gratifying, lucrative, promising, especially in the present era of globalization. So I thought it must be my duty to give an overall view of the essentials of the translation in a multilingual, especially multilingual country like India. All the countries have one or two languages, some have 4 languages or 5 languages. But India has more than 16 languages, official languages, as printed on our currency notebook. And we have got more than 430 languages alive and being spoken. So, you would have thought that I would be talking about some drama or novel or whatever the usual topic is, but I did it for a special purpose here because translation is gaining importance nowadays. In fact, especially when translation inclined scholars are there in my own college, in my department, like Swami Divya, schooled in Pondicherry under the able guidance of Dr. Marx. So naturally, I thought it would be relevant, and also because I gained some practical experiences in the field by translating the book. So, first of all the students here who are uninitiated into the domain of a translation would ask, why translation in the conference? That so meager amount of people are doing it, and it is also not an interesting field to many or likely to think. So first of all, let us look at the question, why translation? That's mainly because there are many languages in the world. Right? Think of a world where there will be only one language. You can talk to people in Africa, you can talk to people in Sweden, you can talk to people in Iceland. The world will be very easy, free of so many problems. Right? But that will be an uninteresting world also. Everybody can communicate to each other, but that will be a flat. monodimensional world. Language being a very important identity of human beings. Of course, animals also speak, but it is an advanced level of tool of communication among humans. So naturally, we have created so many things using the language. It was an earlier definition that language is a tool of communication. But in the present scenario, people have found that without language, human beings are nothing. Language is everything, is the modern and latest neuro-linguistic. So naturally, we have translation mainly because the world has a lot of languages, and in India especially, in a peculiarly multilingual country of hundreds of languages. And also, as globally, many of us are becoming bilinguals, as Raj touched through the linguistic sense. Right? He says that the native speakers like British, American, Australian, South American are all in the core circle. And others who have got English as an official lingua franca, or a tool of communication, or in the second circle, outer circle. And the further outer circle are now learning it for some esoteric purposes of trade, commerce, or whatever it is. And he says that the third circle is expanding. With the advent of globalization, with the advent of information technology, right? It's fast expanding. That is the expanding cycle. So almost everybody is becoming bilingual. Almost all of the people here, including your correspondent, was bilingual. We are all bilinguals now. Naturally, translation is a very important tool we should consider in depth. So, where does the inclination for translation come in? Whenever you want to share something to a fellow linguistic community or linguistic fraternity, right? Naturally, you will think of this. We'll see what it is, right? You will be happy to see that in our language this is there. If this can be passed on to you, though you have a different language, you will also enjoy this. This is a thing. So that is the second reason we have to talk about the translation. And the third one is, right from our days of Bharatiya, there is an outcry that we have to bring all the available intellectual resources in other languages into Tamil. And we have to also take our, of course, you know that in Tamil is a classical language with abundant literature, but which has not reached any other language community, lacking very serious efforts, and especially lacking translation. So, to extend the helping hand to the Tamils to make its literature and thought get a pan-Indian, it's not even known in other language communities, in Kerala, in Telugu, and all. Okay, in Kerala, the literature or whatever code available is being translated into all other Indian languages, right? Kannada, Telugu, right? And so many other languages, including Bengali. But in Tamil, we are not doing it. So you are doing an injustice. If we do that, then what is the purpose of our learning two languages, having two languages, right? So we have to think of a translation in a very serious way, right? The language that is being disseminated through India, right from our colonial days, is Bengali. If not, you would not have known Rabindranath Tagore at all. He himself wrote in Bengali as well as English. That's why we know Rabindranath Tagore very well, right? The same way, another gentleman from Karnataka, and so many writers in Karnataka write in English, their own literary works. An important personality is Karnataka. In Sweden, I saw a thesis on the internet in Sweden, right? In Germany, there is a PhD thesis in the English department on Richter. Where are our literary works, our literary scholars' works being researched? Vairumuthu's points, or even J. Morgan's novels? Nobody is doing it because we are not doing it in English. So naturally, we are doing an injustice to that language. Of course, Tamil people can do that, but they are lacking in English. The English people can do that, but we underestimate translation. Oh, this is I am a pure Englishman. I can deal with only English literature. That sort of a fuss we have. Many people look down upon translation. In Madurai Comorin University, when Professor Sachidanandam was there, translation was reigning supreme in the English department. In Bharatdasan, when Chellappan was there, comparative literature and translation was reigning supreme. In Periyar, there is no subject. Seriously taught. In Mayapur Bharatiyar, in the name of Bharatiyar, there is not much has been done. So, when Tamil people cannot do that, it is the responsibility of the English teachers to take up translation, to bring some pan-Indian as well as international recognition to its classical as well as contemporary. Right? And apart from that, interaction between language communities is geared up now. Right? There are interactions very quickly occurring around the world, right? Between various language communities. So we have to catch up. Yes, next. See, this is a branch that shows the world English as a circle. Right? In a circle, whole circle, native speakers, outside circle, where English has been imposed upon the community due to colonization or other purposes. And the third circle is the expanding circle, right? Where it is fast expanding, especially after globalization. Right? Look at the Chinese people. The second largest country in population is India. And the first largest country is China, you know that, 146 crores, India is at 136 crores. Right? Of course, China was a very poor country 30 years ago. And after the fall of Russia, they learned a very bitter lesson, but a very important lesson that they have to have some global contacts. Then how can you have global contact? Right? Through English. So, thousands and hundreds are taking English exams. If you go to internet and watch a video by Jay Walker, right? Chinese learning of English, you can see a stadium of people. A whole football stadium of people are seated where somebody is announcing, come on, repeat all of you. I will learn English all the time. I will develop my nation China. I want to learn English. I will speak English. Thousands of people. You can't even imagine that in Tamil. Right? It's a different type of government. If the government thinks you need this, you have to do all of you, then everybody will catch. Here, you can't even ask your students to speak in English. Some Tamil ordered lover will come. How can you say that you have to speak in English all the time in the class? Right? We will stage a demonstration in front of your school or college. People will object. So this is an IELTS examination happening in China. That's why they have picked up. Their relative is there in China, in America. And when we were talking to her over phone, she was showing that she has a fish to be roasted on that day. And she was showing the size of the piece. It was so big. Okay, laminated plastic with a barcode and all. And I read it quickly, made in China. See, what is this, man? Even a fish slices are coming from China. She told me everything is coming from China. 30 years ago, they were very poor. They hated English. With English, they have become the superpower today. Even China, even America is afraid of the Chinese economy. Fortunately, they have got a death blow now due to COVID and natural disasters. They are our competitors. The next huge population. So naturally, we should also empower ourselves with English. Right? The Swedish statistician Hans Rosling has predicted that by 2045, China and India's economy will be on par with America. But if you are lagging behind in our global communication, global trade, global commerce, global interaction, then China will take over us and we will be lagging. So naturally, we need to think of all ways of improving our English and utilizing our English to empower ourselves, to interact with the global community. Right? I'll give you a sample case. How many of you know her? Chinmayi Sripada. You know her? Singer Chinmayi. She is a polyglot. She is a polyglot. She can speak Tamil, except Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, Punjabi. Apart from that, she can speak German, Spanish, right, and Italian. Where did she find time to learn all these things? She had to, because she was learning German in the Max Muller Bhavan Chennai, and she has passed all the 6 levels of English, 6 levels of German, completed the course. One fine morning when she was preparing for a singing competition and was in shooting, she was looking at her laptop, and there was a request from her brother that a German pamphlet had to be translated from German to English. She did it, and it was sent to Germany, and the fellow there was impressed. Oh, beautiful translation. Who did it? And the brother said, it's my sister. She has done a German course in Max Muller Bhavan Chennai. Right? And later, he started sending a lot of work. Right? Now she has got 65 people, apart from her singing, her compiling, and many other assignments she is doing. Running this translation company with the 65 workers in Chennai. All her classmates who learn German. Later, she started learning Spanish because there was an ample opportunity, and also Italian. Now doing a lot of translation and earning a lot of money. That's why she is bold now. Right? She can face anybody. She can even pull the legs of Vairumuthu. So confident. Right? So, next. Right. I told you the pleasure for sharing something with one's linguistic fraternity that interests someone, okay, from L1 to L2. Right? Where does it start? Where can you have your translation? All the teachers, as well as the students learning English as a language, should always think of relate yourself to your local language, local community. When I was doing my PhD in Canadian literature, the great veteran scholar of English language and literature, Dr. Krishnasamy, asked me, what is your PhD? I told him, Canadian fiction, sir. Margaret Lawrence, the first lady of the Canadian fiction. Like, come on, man. It was so close to me. In fact, for analyzing his textbook in English, I got the best paper award in P.Velur College, and he was asking me, what are you doing in Canadian fiction? You have a fancy for it? Oh, no, sir. I saw one of the movies of the Margaret novel made into a movie, so I was impressed. Hey, come on, yeah, there are so many fellows in Canada to do research on the Canadian literature. Why don't you do it in Indian literature? Our people are writing so many in India. Be nationalistic. Do some service to your language, Tamil or English or Indian production, Indian work of art. So this is what I seriously consider from that day. Okay? So naturally, how can you have a valuable association with your mother tongue? Look at this. This is a death level point of 1596. Death levels everybody, rich or poor, black or white, king or the soldier. That is the theme of the poem. When I read the poem, I was impressed that, right, there is already a poem there in our own Tamil context. Right? Next. Look at that. Same, death level. So when you can be so proud that you have got the same thought in your own language, how can you be so indifferent to it? This will give you some confidence to teachers and scholars that we have got so much in our own language similar to what we are studying. Once you get to know that, you will definitely compare and develop a translation tendency, and you will try to do something. Okay, that's the leveler point by James Shirley in 1596. This is 1956. Look at that. 1596. This is 1956. Okay, next. This is another one pointed out by my friend Velusamy one day of Chikanaka College. This is from As You Like It, William Shakespeare. 7 ages of man. You know that all the world is the stage, and all the men and women merely players. Right? They have their exits and entrances. Right? He is born and then go to school and reluctant to go to school, and then become an adolescent, then started loving a girl and getting married until death. It is the same is there in our own Tamil pointed out Velusamy one day. Next. Look at that. எந்த ஊர் என்றவனை இருந்த ஊரை சொல்லவா அந்த ஊர் நீயும் கூட அறிந்த ஊர் அல்லவா உடலூரில் வாழ்ந்திருந்தேன் உறவூரில் மிதந்திருந்தேன் கருவூரில் குடிபுகுந்தேன். It started from conception, human conception. Then மண்ணூரில் விழுந்து விட்டேன், that is born on earth. And then கண்ணூரில் தவழ்ந்திருந்தேன், கையூரில் வளர்ந்திருந்தேன், காலூரில் நடந்து வந்தேன், களையூர் வந்து விட்டேன், etc. It's going on. It's from Rambayan Kathar. Right? SSR with the drunken mode and sings this song. So drawing parallel to the students as well as to yourself, you can think about the rich literature, the rich imagination of our ancient language, Tamil, then naturally that will lead you to think in terms of translating or doing some translation. Right? Next. See, I was doing my PhD in women's studies, and I read a lot of books for feminist theory. And there was one book which my colleague called Gold Mine, a French writer, Valérie Bryson's feminist political theory. Right? And it was very tough to crack. He was talking about so many things. And I also read Kate Millen, Simon de Beauvoir's famous book in the Second Sex, so many other things. Once I happened to hit upon Ajay Prakasham, the great writer for about 50 years. Right? And I happened to read him once in the Comorin magazine. I was shocked. So powerful writer, so thoughtful, so wonderfully explaining feminist theory. I was surprised. This fellow must be translated to be back to France, I thought. This is his collection of essays. Such a thoughtful writer, very powerful. I was surprised that we have got so many fellows. What in the world is it? Not at all recognizing us because we lack a translation. We don't have that tendency to sell our thought to other people, but all the time buying. We are receivers and not at all givers as far as our Tamil language and literature and thought is concerned. Such a great man. Has written about 54 books. Right? 65 short stories. And hundreds of essays, critical essays. Next. So translation is a very old affair. It's not a new affair. You cannot think that, sir, what is this? We don't know anything about this or not. It is there right from the Tolkien slides. Look at that. தொகுத்தல் விரித்தல் தொகை விரி மொழிபெயர்த்து அதற்பட யாத்தலோடு அனை மறைவினவே. This is from Tolkien. The word மொழிபெயர்ப்பு is taken from Tolkien only. Right? And I have already told you that Bharatiyar has already said translation is very important. Look at that. Demadura Tamilis, Tamarose, Udagamana, Parapukai, Saital Vendum, Piranat, Nalari, and Santirangal, Tamarmurical, Payakal Vendum, Ravada Pokarudia, Udu Nurgal, Tamarmurical, Yetal Vendum, Mella Tamari Chahum, and the Met Murical Pugi Visa Wogu. That was the beginning. If you are not listening to me, Mella Tamari Chahum, Mele, Oracle in Wogu. That's what the warning given. Right? So he closes it in the 11th stanza. That is a clarion call to the people. How many of you know that Bharatiyar wrote a novel in English? He wrote a novel in English. Right? He can read English, he can write English. That's why he could write this. You all of you know English and Tamil. All English teachers, English scholars. Okay? He wrote a novel. The novel was called The Fox with the Golden Tail. That was his novel. Of course, it did take off. But only due to his association with English and Hindi, he could write about the Russian Revolution in 1917 in the very emotional, exuberant voice that that was possible to him because, right? He could read, write in 3 languages and also a bit of Bengal. They come to him. Right. Yes, next. So the duty of the language teaching and learning community is you need to be proficient in both the languages, your original language, whatever it is, and also in English. Why it is so, sir? Only then you can teach better. If you teach it that's the leveler point, you can also say that, yes, we have got a song in our own, right? Bhavanasam Sivan's song in 1956 talks about the same thing you have to tell. Only then they will get inspired, they will have a self-prestige. If not, they will be very much disinterested in the English class. Because teaching, the basic teaching motto is go from the local to the global. We go to the global and stay there. And when we come back, we finish the class and go home. That's not the way to make our students think. You have to make them comfortable. Wherever you go, you have to make people comfortable. Even Bharavishwari this morning was telling me, I was quite disturbed, sir. I was about to introduce you. Only on knowing that you are also from Comorin, all my senses is down. Wherever I go, I make people comfortable. I don't make any fuss about my position or my behavior at all. Okay? So, you have to make your students comfortable in the classroom by talking about what is available in our own literature. They have to know at least some 10 or a handful of Tamil writers in the front line, especially the women-dominated audience know at least some 10 or 20 women writers. Only then they will be inspired to do that. There are people in the translation business in Tamil Nadu, right? And the women are around 50 or 60. Men are as usual 100 or 200. And the pioneering are English teachers. So I want to see one day Divya will some his name as a top ranking translator. Right. So this bilingual proficiency will eventually lead to familiarity with the regional language. Sir, you mean to say our English proficiency will take us to Tamil language? Yes, it has happened. In the case of Sachinamu, in the case of Chalapan, in the case of M.S. Nagarajan, Madras University, in the case of Krishna, he was an English teacher. He was an English guy. Merely he thought, hey, why can't I have my literature introduced to the English language? I will write my Nagamandala, but all other in English and make them read it. He has done it. Right? So naturally, apart from that, bilingual, according to the latest field, neurolinguistics, bilingualism is highly advantageous to the humans. It is a double brain. I have seen that in my own household. When my daughter was a small child, when her mom says, go and give it to Aya, she will take it. No, mommy, it's getting late for my school, she would say. Go, give it to Aya and come back. Immediately she will take it, go to the Aya and will not say, come on, have it, Aya. She will not say. Immediately she will switch over to her mother tongue. Aya, Amma, idu kodukku sonnanga. See how sharp the language is. So this is called, right, shift, code switching and code mixing. She does code mixing, code shifting, okay, all the things without learning linguistics. It is there. We don't foster it. We don't cultivate it among our children. Right? They have to be introduced. Once when I was asking her, what is it, 900? She told me, 900. See your sister, right from the school days. You mean 90, Daddy? So we are doing an injustice that we are not at all caring for our own mother tongue, which is an ancient language and also very powerful and also gaining importance in the present scenario, right? So, next. Look at that. See, Dr. Chalapan, Dr. Madanayakam, Pondicherry University, Dr. Grish Karnan, B.K. Ramanujan, Rabindranath Tagore, right? They're all, and 4 of them are English teachers, and this Rabindranath also was teaching English as well as English literature, as well as Bengali literature. So naturally, if you're an English teacher, an English graduate, naturally you have to think of doing service to your own language, your own literature, and building a bridge between your language and the target language or the second language. Right, next. Look at that, the missing translators today, the topmost translator, right, in Tamil Nadu, this is Shivakumar, right, from Salem Gomatas, English HOD, working in the Urban Gomatas also. This is Erode, Vasali College, principal as well as English HOD, Akilan. They are very busy translator today after retirement. Both of them are now 72 years, 73. Right? And this is a zoology graduate, Mr. Kupuswamy. You can see a lot of books, including there's a lot of small things in Tamil. And imagine that. I have read that novel. It's poetic prose, pure poetry. Even at the very trying and the pathetic and tragic scenes, you will be confused whether to appreciate this language or you have to identify the emotion delivered there. Such a poetic prose. He has done it. He is a zoology graduate. Kupuswamy. Kupuswamy says, Mr. Shivakumar is my guru. I was talking to Shivakumar for my translation and he was online handling classes for me for about 1 hour and 55 minutes last month. Such a nice man. Right? Making a lot of money also. Gain status, dignity, and also a name. Right? Next. See, this man is from Peruturai, Gautama Siddharthan. Right? In fact, he bemoans that he is doing a lot of translation, but there is no recognition at all. Even among the Tamil scholars, Tamil teachers in colleges, he says. His books are being translated in 12 languages, Latin, Spanish, German, Dutch language. Recently, there was a fellow who visited from Russia to see who is this guy. Right? This Gautama Siddharthan from Peruturai, now settled in Chennai, is doing a lot of translation and he hired people to translate his Tamil poems into German, into Latin, into Chinese, and so many things. See how effortfully you want to introduce yourself to the global community. Right? So this is Gautama Siddharthan. He is also running a magazine. Unnadam. Right. So this is Vincent Soundaram from Karmathur College, Arulananda College, who is translating from Tamil to English. It was he who translated Gautama Siddhartha's poems into English. Another English professor. You're all English graduates. Take it. Get inspired. Right? See, this is Upaswami's translations. Look at that. Oran Pamuk's novel. My Name is Red. Then Niram Sivapur. And so many other Oran Pamuk's novel, and also another writer from Iran. Right. So don't think that this is all business of the oldies. No, boys, all I'm getting lesson. See that? There are two young fellows. This fellow is from English, Saudeshwari College, Karthik Dawisi. This girl is from Arupukote, Sridevi Nakashi or some peculiar. Achi, or something. Okay, right? They are concentrating on translating African literatures. See that? Magari Matai, Kayong, Sebamanda Onichi, so many writers are translated. See, these two youngsters are certified by the seasoned translator of about 30 or 40 years, Indiran Rajendran. Right? He says that I am surprised by the power of translation at this age. And this fellow, Karthik Dawisi, there is another fellow, Krishna Dawisi, who was working in Budam. He has written a lot. And I don't know why this fellow has attached Leonardo da Vinci's name with him, possibly inspired by Krishna da Vinci. Krishna da Vinci was originally Venkatakrishnan, and he called himself Krishna da Vinci. You might have seen it in those days when he was alive up to 2012 or 17. Right? So this fellow Karthik from Saudeshwari College, right? He says that he reads a lot. So the basic qualification to become a good translator is you have to read a lot in Tamil, right? Not in the newspaper, but at advanced level of written discourse, you have to read. Right? He says that even his own teachers in the college used to ask him about Russian author Vladimir Nabokov. He would say, or a German author, he would explain. So such a small boy has acquainted himself with the world literature and started translating the world literature, especially African literature, into Tamil. Right? Next. So don't think it's all a male-dominated domain. This room is women-dominated. Look at the women here. There are so many here. Ambai C.S. Lakshmi, right? And Amaranda, Lata Ramakrishnan, Vahita, K.V. Shailaja, K.V. Jayashree, Shahida, Lata Arunachalam, Anuradha Anand, Sachikala Babu, Kayal, Subhadra, Narmada Mukuswamy, Karmurali Sridhar, Bhatma Narayanan, right? Vilasini Ramani, Kandal Sivakumar, Gokilam Subaya from Trichy, right? Yesh Sushila, Saraswati Ramnath. So many women are doing. Most of them are English teachers. Right? Of course, there are science graduates also. Next. Right? So, is there any use? There are some amazing translations available, which has motivated many of our students. Even my own brother's daughter wanted to read Wings of Fire of Abdul Kalam. I bought her a copy of it. So it is written by Dr. APJ Wings of Fire in Tamil called Anthony Chirangal. So there are useful translations, definitely, no doubt about it. Breaking India, written by Rajiv Malhotra, who was there in the US for about 45 years, running an IT company, and wrote a book, How India is being divided by the outside forces. That book was ranking on the top-selling list for a long time. Right? Then, Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. Right? Confessions of a Hitman, Economic Hitman. This is translated into Tamil as a Oru Poruladara Adiyalin Vakumolam, which created a lot of sensation in the Tamil field, Tamil literature field. Right? Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Hitman, Adiyal. Economic Hitman, Poruladara Adiyal. Of course, it's a new word. It wasn't there in English. In Tamil earlier. Poruladara Adiyal. right? Of course, political idea, you know that. Purvadar idea, he has coined it. He has coined it. Who is that translator? Murugaveli. Right? Then lot of small things. Another era has been translated into Tamil as a Chinna Vishayangalin Kadavul by G. Kuppusamy. Then recently I was impressed by a book, and in fact I wanted to translate it. Shashi Tharoor's The Era of Darkness. Right? How India was looted brutally by the British people. It is written in the form of a book called The Era of Darkness. It was released in London also. It's talking about the ruthless looting of British people, our mother India, but it was released in England also. And the English students, youngsters were surprised that we didn't know. Why there is no mentioning of it in our history books? They're surprised. But it is there. It was a fact. He has compiled it and he has listened to the history book. Right? And it was translated into Tamil by J.K. Roy Shekharan before I did it. So I had to stop. I was halfway through. Then the Stephen Hawking's another important book, History of Time. Our Kuppusamy has translated. G. Kuppusamy. History of Time. Kaalathhin Varalaru. That's also there. Okay. Right. So, sir, is there anybody who is going to publish our book, sir, if we translate? Yes, in Palachur, single Padipakam publishers alone, there are Uyamai Padipakam, right? Narmada Padipakam, Palachur, and also so many other publishers are there, right? And this single publishers has released so far 152 translated words, right? In all the languages, into Tamil, from Malayalam to Tamil, from English to Tamil, so many. And another advantage is if you indulge in translation, college word says, you will one day start become a creative writer. Right? You will become a creative writer one day. College word itself has published G. Kuppusamy's creative writing, his own novel, recently published. So many writers. Once being translation in the field of translation, you will be motivated on seeing the different writings. Definitely, you will be one day induced to write your own literature. That is also there. So, college is ready to, or we or Undadam, or so many are ready to help you. Next. Right. Yes. You are likely to ask me, sir, for our students, will it help us to get a job? Definitely. How, where, and how much, that we will see after a break. Thank you.
Participants are asked to consider stance. request our chief guest Dr. Vijay to continue the event at now.
Start. Let me start, all of you? Yes. Okay. Right. See, today all your studies are focused on placement. Will I get any job, sir? Right? So naturally, I have to speak in terms of getting any job opportunity if you are a translator, or thus the domain of translation promises me career opportunities. Yes, this has got a lot of career opportunities. What are they translating about? No, not at all. There are so many. Look at that subtitling, right? There are a lot of videos that requires subtitling. It is being done in Chennai, Mumbai, Bangalore, and we are the three top centers where digital subtitling of English documentaries is being done. Right? So now subtitling is there, then voice dubbing. Right? For an English movie or a French movie or a German movie, they will give you an English script, you have to change it into Tamil, and you can give a voice dubbing for documentaries and also movies. Right? The top companies are at Delhi. If you go on the internet and you can search and find out. Right? I will show you where you can do that. And there are regional technical writing for products and processes. For example, if I had a institutes, then naturally within the box you will have literature. How to use it, okay? Or what are the components? It will be there printed in almost all the languages, Indian languages. Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, English. Okay, so naturally you will be required to do it in English. This is what is called technical writing option. Right? So this is also available. Let's see that. Right. And you can be a freelancer translator doing a WFH. What's that? The popular one. Yes, work from home. Right? You can simply get married, be at home and do it on the computer. That's also possible. Right? And where can we get all this information, sir? How can we get a job, a career opportunity, a translation? I know English, I know Tamil. Can I do that, sir? Yes. I can give you just one sample. There are hundreds of websites. I can give you one sample that is called translationdirectory.com. There are 57,669 translators. And English to Tamil translators alone are amounting to 979 translators are there. Throughout the world, right? 57,669 translators are there. The topmost among the translators are English to Tamil, and they have 79. Right? The second is the most literate state of India, Kerala. Okay? So there are 753 translators. In one website, in translationdirectory.com, there are around 58,000 translators, and the Tamil is topping in the Indian languages with the 979 translators. You want to see the interface of the directory? Yes, next. Look at that. Translationdirectory.com. Okay, there is a boy. His name is Mr. M. Shivakumar, and his language is from English to Tamil. And how much he is? I am a native. What is this? His resume is there. You need not prepare one. It is there. You have to type your information. That is enough. I am a native speaker of Tamil. My minimum rate is 0.01 euro per, right? Source work. For a work of about 3,000 words per word, you have to give me 0.01 pound or 1 penny. 1 word per 1 penny. Okay, 1 penny per word. That is the translation rate. Right? There are translation agencies. Okay, right? See, here you can register yourself, you can become a translator. See, such a small boy. possibly an English graduate. He has registered himself, Shivakumar, right? See, you can be a paid member, you can be a non-paid member, you can contact various translation agencies in this translationdirectory.com, right? And a lot of translation works are available. They will approve. They will send you, they will mail you the translatable material, and you have to do the translation. According to the error rate, you will be asked to revise it, and you will be paid in pounds, right? How much is the exchange value for Indian rupee and pound? 92 rupees today, right? If you earn 100 pounds, then naturally it is 9,200. 100 pounds earned, it is equal to 9,200. So all is available in this translationdirectory.com. You can register yourself, at least the teachers here, and the research scholars, and also the brilliant English students can register yourself here. You will be made with a translatable material, and you will be paid for that. That is that. Yes, next. See that 57,669 freelance translators are registered here. Right? You can do your studies, you can do your job, you can do it as a part-time job, as a Sri Chinmay is doing it. Okay, and you can earn money. You can even make it a full-time job. Right? So this is a one single sign that I have brought it here for you. Next. Right. So naturally, the motivation part is over. Now we are coming to over. This is how to do translation. What is translation, sir? Can we do it confidently? What are the intricacies of translation? Right? There are so many books, there are so many theories, right? From Eugene Naida to Peter Newmark to Susan Barnett, so many people are there, all complicated general theories. How to do from English to Tamil or Tamil to English, or at least from English to Tamil. What are the complications? What are the problems? That is the main part of the speech that we are going through now, right? A lot of the theorists right from Dryden, okay, he talks about how to transfer from Latin to Greek to English. Structure it. So syntactic problem is the main problem. They should know how a simple sentence is made, and also they should know how an embedded or a complex sentence is. Then the problem will be solved. It's as easy as that. So syntactic problem is the biggest problem in translation as well as in learning a language. Let us see how it is impeding your progress or learning a language. Right? So syntactic problems, stylistic problems, and non-linguistic problems are semantic problems, the meaning. Okay, it depends upon the culture or established tradition of what a word or a structure means. So it is non-linguistic, and also cultural problems that we have seen now. Shall I compare you to someone say next? Right, the problems at work. What are the problems? See, look at that. Sivarasan killed Rajiv Gandhi. Right? In English. So doer, Sivarasan, okay, or in your language. I don't want to use those words, I don't use it to my students. Okay, subject, verb, object, forget it. Let us go for a even more meaningful terms. Doer. Doer is Sivarasan, and what he did? Killing. Who was killed? Rajiv Gandhi. So this is the English order, strict order. Sivarasan killed Rajiv. This can be translated to Sivarasan, Rajiv Gandhi, Comorin. Of course, very topical, very sensitive also. The fellow is released now. So, we have to be careful in wording it. Right? See, Sivarasan, in Tamil also, English also. Killed. God, it's missing. Where is it? It has gone to the end of the sentence. So English order is SPO or SPOCA, subject to verb, object to complement, and adjunct. That's a strict order of English. As far as sentence is concerned, will come later. What happens in another aspect of the same, right? In Tamil, right, you can have it, the action word comes at the end of the sentence. In Tamil, the normal sentence order is you have the verb at the final position. Okay, this is a very simple thing, not an extraordinary contrastive linguistic syntactical point, but this is what I tell my students. Right? If they come here and they want to create a sentence, they create this sentence like this, right? நான் KKC-ல BA English 2019 இருந்து 2022 வரைக்கும் படிச்சேன் அப்படின்னா உடனே immediately no KKC college. I KKC college BA English studied. Why? What's the problem? Tamil structure. Okay, studied goes to the end. If he is explained, because all the words he know. What's the problem? Arranging it according to English convention. English convention is strict. Yes, we know, right? So, if he is explained this, he will simply write without any mistakes. Okay, what did he do? Right, studied. What was studied? BA English. I studied BA English. Where? In a college. Finished. Perfect English sentence. So all the words you know, arranging it is the problem. If you explain this, we'll be terribly happy. That's very argument. Subject, verb, object, complement, how it's done. It's very simple thing. Okay, you can easily understand that, right? And also you have to explain it is a flexible sentence order in English is in Tamil is flexible. See that Sivarasan Rajiv Gandhi Kondran. You can make it Kondran Sivarasan Rajiv Gandhi. It's okay. Okay. Or you can even Rajiv Gandhi Sivarasan Kondran. It's okay. You can put it anywhere. The word order, or the sentence word order in a sentence is flexible in Tamil, but it is not so in English. In fact, it is an advantage, right? But the problem in translation is when the structures are of an advanced level of written discourse, definitely you will have problem, right? Sir, you said it is so easy, but when you are adding on, right, some information about the doer, some information about the action killing, right? Naturally, the sentence is getting complicated, and in Tamil, sentence order is different when it is a complex sentence. So this is a basic thing that will help you to do your translation in an efficient manner. See that LTT cadre, Mr. Sivarasan killed Sri Rajiv Gandhi ruthlessly at Sri-Perumbudur in 1992, right? See, Mr. Sivarasan is added an additional information LTT cadre. Of course, it comes before Sivarasan. It's okay. Then killed as usual next to the doer. Then who was killed? Rajiv Gandhi. It comes next. So doer, action word, sufferer action over. Where the action was held, right? Sri-Perumbudur. In which year or when? 1992. How it was held? Ruthlessly. Now look at in Tamil. That order is changed. LTT in Angadinarana Sivarasan. Next is time. 1992 Sri-Perumbudur, the place also comes first. Sri Rajiv Gandhi Koduramaga Kondran. Okay, once again, the last word is a verb. Action word is in the end. But all other informations are preceding. Okay, they are all coming to the front position. Whereas in English, you can have it only at the end, not in the beginning. Right? It further gets complicated at the another level. Yes, next. See that? It gets further difficult when the structures are advanced. Okay, this is taken from a Hindu paper yesterday. Right? Look at that. The vengeful, unsympathetic, and determined LTT character Mr. Sivarasan who was assigned to kill the youngest Prime Minister candidate of India, Sri Rajiv Gandhi, killed him ruthlessly in Sriperumbudur, at Sriperumbudur in 1992. My goodness, this is the sentence you will be facing in translations. Not simple like a Rama killed Ravana, the cat killed the rat. Okay, so many classes, so many phrases are put together, and naturally, when you are changing it, you are likely to copy this style. Right? See that? இந்தியாவின் இளம் பிரதமர் வேட்பாளர் ஸ்ரீ ராஜீவ் காந்தியை கொல்லும் பணி ஒப்படைக்கப்பட்ட வழிவரி கொண்ட இரக்கமற்ற மாறாத உறுதி கொண்ட எல்டிடியின் அங்கத்தினரான சிவராசன் 1990 ஸ்ரீபெரும்புதூரில் அவரை கொடூரமான முறையில் கொன்றான். Not too much. This is not Tamil at all. Okay? So what is the problem? You are putting so many information in the English style. Right? Or we will look at another style. இந்தியாவின் இளம் பிரதமர் வேட்பாளரான ஸ்ரீ ராஜீவ் காந்தியை கொல்லும் திட்டம் ஒப்படைக்கப்பட்ட வழிவரி இரக்கமின்மை மாறாத உறுதி ஆகியவை கொண்ட. So all the adjectives are put together with an ஆகியவை in the Tamil style. திரு சிவராசன் 1992 ஸ்ரீபெரும்புதூரில் அவரை கொடூரமான முறையில் கொன்றார். Somewhat okay, but still it is jarring. You cannot read it freely. The flow is abstracted by with a lot of information. Right? Next one, yes. See that? இந்தியாவின் இளம் பிரதமர் வேட்பாளரான ஸ்ரீ ராஜீவ் காந்தியை கொல்லும் திட்டம் ஒப்படைக்கப்பட்ட எல்டிடியின் அங்கத்தினரான திரு சிவராசன் then பழிவெறியோடு இரக்கமின்றி ஒரே சிந்தனையுடன் 1992 ஸ்ரீபெரும்புதூரில் அவரை கொடூரமான முறையில் கொன்றார். Somewhat still complicated, too long. So what is this? Here also it is a single sentence. Why you are not finding it difficult in English? Because in English, okay, the doer and the action word comes next to next, and that is the first element, and that is the second element, the doer and action word or subject and verb, and immediately you comprehend. But in Tamil, you have to give all the other informations first to take the killer and the action of killing at the end of the sentence. So you need to wait. You need to wait. So naturally you get tired. If one sentence is tiresome, if a whole book of around 300 pages is translated in this way, who will read translation? Nobody. Right? So look at the fourth version of the same sentence. Yes, next. Look at that. இந்தியாவின் இளம் பிரதமர் வேட்பாளரான ஸ்ரீ ராஜீவ் காந்தியை கொல்லும் திட்டம் எல்டிடியின் அங்கத்தினரான திரு சிவராசன் வசம் ஒப்படைக்கப்பட்டிருந்தது. செமிகோலன் பழிவெறியுடனும் இரக்கம் இல்லாமலும் மாறாத உறுதியுடனும் 1992 ஸ்ரீபெரும்புதூரில் அவர் கொடூரமான முறையில் ஸ்ரீ ராஜீவ் காந்தியை கொன்றார். Now a bit simplified, மூச்சு விடுறது இடம். Okay? But இந்த மாதிரி உடைக்கலாமா சார்? Who can say that? All the translation here is saying, as Tamil is, right, allergic to unwieldy structures, you have to break that. Nothing is lost. No meaning is lost. No convention is overruled. That is acceptable. Right? Because you are taking the action word to the end of the sentence. You are losing patience. I can explain to you through an incident that occurred in my neighboring house. There is a small girl, cute girl in my neighboring house. And the father is working on the computer. I went there, I was talking to him. And this girl came to him. Right, and this is a granddaughter, right? A grandson and a granddaughter. The granddaughter comes to that man, my neighbor, and he was telling him, Tata, Anna, Vandi, Amma, Vandi, எடுக்கக்கூடாதுன்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல, எடுத்துட்டு போயிட்டேன். Oh, on the road. He was working on that, he was talking. Then he was showing something on the computer. Immediately, Tata, நான் எடுத்துட்டு போய் வண்டியை உடைச்சிட்டான். அப்படியா உடைச்சான். He was also going on working. But then immediately she was telling, இல்லை தாத்தா கீழே விழுந்து மண்டையை உடைச்சிட்டான். ஆள் வேற ரத்தம். ஏய் என்ன சொல்ற? ஆமா நான் மாடிப்படி கட்டில ஒடிச்சிட்டான். ஐயோ! Immediately we all rushed there and saw them and come. Right? And the problem was attended. When we returned, right there, grandfather was asking the granddaughter, Hey, உழுந்துட்டான்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேங்க நீ முதல்லயே. Okay. Immediately, she pinned herself against the wall and hung her head, but looking through the doors, right, very angry. Right? He went there and seated, and she was still there watching us. Sit tight. They were, which can I invite? She was not ready to talk. Immediately, he was asking me, "Yeah, you already told no la." Oh, உழுந்துட்டான்னு சொல்றதுக்கு உனக்கு இவ்வளவு நேரமா அப்படின்னு அம்மா என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்க தெரியுமா? அப்பாட்டியும் தாத்தாட்டியும் போய் எதா இருந்தாலும் டொப்பு டொப்பு போட்டு உடைக்காத, நிதானமா சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. Okay, right? I was terribly amused. The same is the case here, right? See, when you are reading a sentence, your brain speed is extraordinary. That's why the speed more. The speedest thing in the world is light. A second, 2 lakh kilometers. If you switch on 2 lakh kilometers speed, if not, you will get the sun's rays from every morning for about a week or 1 month. It's so fast it reaches us. Otherwise, fast in our brain. Okay, so right? So when you are reading, you are looking through your eyes, and the lights are reaching you, and you are trying to comprehend it, of course, without opening your mouth, and your brain is working so fast, and if you are delaying so long, naturally you will get tired. Right? Okay? So, cutting the sentences at the appropriate place is allowed. Right? One meaningful sentence with a semicolon followed by the next sentence. Right? This is permitted by all the English to Tamil translated groups. Right? Next. Okay, right. See, if this being the plain prose, a simple problem of arranging classes, what will be the problem of a literary piece? How to take into consideration even sounds. Right? In my MA class, the simple line was given. Nothing of beauty is joy forever. Come on, give your translations. All of us tried. A thing of beauty is joy forever. ஒவ்வொரு அழகான பொருளும் மகிழ்ச்சியை தரும். ஒவ்வொரு எல்லா அழகான பொருளும் சந்தோஷத்தை தரும். Come on, it's poetry, poetic line. Come on, come on. எல்லாம் முயற்சி பண்றாங்க ஒரு at last he came up. Okay, இதை பற்றி பாருங்க. அழகிய பொருள் ஒவ்வொன்றும் ஆனந்தம் என்றென்றும். Wow, this is fascinating. Okay, so naturally in literature you have to take into consideration the genre, right? If it is a novel, there are a lot of metaphors and similes, so it's a very complicated problem, right? If prose gives a lot of problem, literature gives a more problem, and if you are sensitive, how can you do that? Then it will be very easy, right? So, what we have understood is English is SVO, whereas Tamil is SO at the last week. Action word comes at the end of the sentence. Nane akka mama elaru sinnavukku ponom. Let's see. Okay. In English, my sister, my uncle, I went. So easily comprehensible. So we cannot have long sentences in Tamil. Yes. Right? Tamil is a verb final language. Tamil is a verb syllable. Okay. Right. Word order in the sentence is relatively free. Right? You can change words if it is a simple sentence. But if it is a class, then you have to have the main class at the end and all other information in the beginning. In English, you can put it in the beginning, you can put it in the middle, you can put it at the end. Nobody bothers. So that's a very important thing when you are looking at English from the point of view of the translation. Yes. Right? So this is again a grammatical analysis, not necessary for you, very complicated. Right? Simple terms I have already explained. Yes, next. Right. See, in Tamil sentence order, in simple sentences, the sentence order is flexible. Sivarasan Kondran Rajiv, Sivarasan Kondran, okay, etc. In English, you cannot do that. Sivarasan killed Rajiv, you can't change. Right? Rajiv killed Sivarasan, all the Congress fellows will come and beat you, black and blue. You can't change that. It's very fixed. Okay? Right. So, in Tamil, the order is, in ordinary sentences is, right, flexible, whereas in complex sentences, you have to have the main class at the end and all other classes precede. Maximum have short sentences. Split at the right time, right place. Okay? Right. Next. Right. See that? Another example. Raja shook his head after inquiring about the price of the computer. Right? கணினியின் விலையை கேட்டுவிட்டு ராஜா தலையை ஆட்டினான். Look at the word, look at the action word in the end. Look here, Raja shook his head first. Right? அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் after inquiring about the price of the computer. But in Tamil, கணினியின் விலையை கேட்டுவிட்டு ராஜா தலையை ஆட்டினான். Do here, action word at the end. Right? In the same way, while eating last night, Raja inquired about the examination result to Vani. Right? நேற்று இரவு சாப்பிட்டுக் கொண்டிருந்த போது ராஜா வாணியிடம் தேர்வு முடிவு பற்றி கேட்டார். How is it possible, sir? In Tamil we have got வேற்றுமை உருவு. Right? Sivarasan, Kel, Rajiv, no வேற்றுமை உருவு at all. In English there is no வேற்றுமை உருவு or participle. Okay, but in Tamil we are managing it by shifting, right, anywhere, any item in a simple sentence in Tamil, not in classes. Okay. How is it possible? Nanga வேற்றுமை உருவு. Sivarasan, Rajiv, I all go Nanga வேற்றுமை. Okay, don't worry about that. They are all not necessary, but you understand. Just I tell you that. Yes. Okay. So the natural complex sentence in English, it sounds very natural to go on add classes and phrases. But in Tamil, you can't do that. It becomes highly complicated. Yes, next. Yes, of course, we have seen that already. Yes, next. See that? See one more example with a lot of classes. Right? The first attempts at producing a grammar of English were made when there were less than 10 million speakers of English in the world, almost all of them living within 100 miles or so of London. Very readable, very easily comprehensible. Right? The first attempts at producing a grammar of English were made. Right? ஆங்கிலத்துக்கு ஒரு கிராமர் தயாரிக்கிறதுக்கு முதல் முயற்சிகள் எப்போது மேற்கொள்ளப்பட்டது அப்படின்னா when there were less than 10 million speakers, 1 கோடி பேர் கூட இல்லை. ஓகே, அப்போதான் இதை பண்ணினாங்க. Of course, இப்போ around 30 crores are there. Right? Almost all of them living within 100 miles or so of London. And most of the people were living just near London. All this information in one sentence. But here you see that உலகில் 1 கோடிக்கும் குறைவான பேசுபவர்களை கொண்டிருந்த போது, அதுவும் அவர்களில் பெரும்பாலும் லண்டனில் இருந்து 100 மைல்களுக்குள் வசித்த போது ஆங்கிலத்திற்கான ஒரு இலக்கண நூல் எழுதும் ஆரம்ப கட்ட முயற்சிகள் எடுக்கப்பட்டன. If you put it like this, definitely it is a clumsy, right? Unattractive in Tamil. You have to break somewhere. Yes, next. Right? In the same way, this is another problem. You can do it at home, right? As you please. Of course, there is no the translation, right? Was the teacher's version. There may be somebody who is more efficient in translation, and he may come up with a different sentence. That's quite possible. There is no the translated version or only version possible. That's not so in translation. Okay, right. So in English we find apposition. Of course, that's a grammatical linguistic term. Class in apposition or phrase in apposition is one class giving another, giving extra information to about another class. Okay, that is class in apposition. Look at that. The science teacher Raja did not come to college. Then Raja, the distinguished daughter, died in an accident yesterday. These are all possible in English, but such an opposition is not possible in Tamil. Therefore, in any translation from English to Tamil, particularly if the authors resort to literal translation, such sentences create a problem. This is Tamil. Look at that. See that? Yes, next. Right? See that? For the test, I received some coaching from certain subjects from my dear friend and classmate in Tamil children. Son of my uncle, Anbuchan. So simple, it seems. Tamil complicated. Okay? For the test, I received some coaching for certain subjects from my dear friend and classmate Tamil children. Son of my uncle, Anbuchan. Okay? என் பெரியப்பா அன்புச்செல்வரின் மகனும் என் நண்பனுமான என் வகுப்பு தோழர் தமிழ்ச்செல்வரிடம் தேர்வுக்காக சில பாடங்களுக்கு நான் சிறப்பு பயிற்சி எடுத்துக்கொண்டேன். Okay, that's one version possible. Next, என் நண்பனும் வகுப்பு தோழருமான தமிழ்ச்செல்வரிடம் தேர்வுக்காக சில பாடங்களுக்கு நான் சிறப்பு பயிற்சி எடுத்துக்கொண்டேன். அவன் என் பெரியப்பா அன்புச்செல்வரின் மகனும் ஆவான். Okay, this is a bit easy when you break it. So this is what you have to do when you are translating the structures of English into Tamil, right? So, is there any other pitfalls in the translation, sir? Structural is the main issue. Any other? Yes, choice of words, okay, phrases, then idioms. There are also problems in the translation. Okay. In every translation, you will definitely see somewhere at least unconsciously, because you are doing a multitasking. The structure has to be correct, right? Structure has to be natural. The word choices has to be appropriate, and the meaning has to be the same. So you are doing a multitasking. It's not like a free writing. If you take a paper, especially in our Chicken College in India, used to write like a machine. She will start a paper and start writing and writing, and she'll fill up 2 pages in half an hour. Okay, so it's easy because when you have a flow of thought and getting recorded, but here you have speed breakers everywhere. Meaning speed breaker, structure speed breaker, then lexical speed breaker. You have to go very slowly. You cannot have a national highway travel when you are doing a translation. You have to be very cautious. So naturally, people say that it's a different type of language or a third language. Every translation has a third language, people say, linguists say, because you have to do justification to both the meaning, the structures, the words, and other features like metaphor, idiom, and all. Right? Okay. Next. Right. See, if you are doing a sentence for sentence translation, naturally there will be a lot of problem. So you have to read the whole paragraph at least as a minimum unit. If it is a long discourse, long written discourse, you have to read the whole, then transfer it. Okay. So naturally there will be some problems. There will be some inadequacies. Somebody will be saying that no, this is wrong. Only this is right. So don't worry about that. Okay. So the ultimate aim is the target language readers must feel that it is their native idiom and style. It should not be a protruding or a jarring style of the prose. That's what you have to clarify. Okay. So when you are translating author, you have to keep in mind the author's background, his time period. Okay. The situatedness of the author. Then only you will be translating it perfectly well. Right? You will see some examples. Yes, next. Okay, before seeing that, we can have another one. Many people say, including my friend Kamalakannan from University College, sir, translation are all a child's play, sir, nowadays. We have got Google Translate, sir. That will do. It will do everything. Right? See, even when I was doing my MA 35 years ago, right? It was explained to me in my translation classes that machine translation has not been successful, it has been a failure. Now we have got a new field about artificial intelligence, AI, which is going to replace even teachers. Right? Your language teaching or whatever teaching will be taken care of by AI robots. Right? Artificial intelligence robots. Still, translation is not possible because translation is, right? Transferring not only words but emotions. usage conventions, and so many other things. They are not words. Look at the Google Translator. This is a passage I have taken from my book I am translating now. Look at that. Why quit when the going is good? Why quit when the going is good? Super. எப்படி தமிழ்ல கொண்டு வரது? கூகுள் என்ன சொல்லுது? செல்வது நன்றாக இருக்கும்போது ஏன் வெளியேற வேண்டும்? My goodness. ஐயோ அதுலயே என்ன சொல்றது? Right? Quit விட்டு போறது. Going is good. நல்லா தான போயிட்டு இருக்கு. இது வேற மாதிரி சொல்லுது. செல்வது நன்றாக இருக்கும்போது. Meaningless. What is it? செல்வது நன்றாக இருக்கும்போது, right? ஏன் வெளியேற வேண்டும்? வெளியேறுதா? Okay? Right? The man is an officer. When he was working wonderfully well, everything was going on well. He resigned his job. So this is the context. How can you say செல்வது நன்றாக இருக்கும்போது ஏன் வெளியேற வேண்டும்? My goodness. Okay. But naturally you have to understand the meaning and then translate it. Google Translator has failed. Okay, look at the other sentences. Too awkward. Right? Like most of you in my early 20s, I saw my life as a series of obstacles that needed to be conquered. Right? உங்களை மாதிரி என்னோட 20 வயசுலாம் நானும் வந்து பல தடைகளை தாண்டி தான் அந்த வாழ்க்கையை ஜெயிக்க போவாங்க அப்படின்னு நான் நினைச்சிட்டு இருப்பேன். Look at Google Translator. உங்களில் பெரும்பாலானோரை போலவே எனது 20களின் தொடக்கத்தில் நான் வெற்றி பெற வேண்டிய தடைகளின் தொடராக என் வாழ்க்கையை பார்த்தேன். Who will read this if you go on and sentences like this for a whole book? என்னையா சொல்ல வரேன்? சொதப்பலா இருக்கு. Okay? Right? In my 20s, like most of you, right? In my 20s, English phrase. You cannot use it for a Tamil. நான் என்னுடைய 20 வயதை தாண்டிய போது உங்களை போலவே வாழ்க்கையை வர சோதனைகளை தாண்டிதான் வெற்றி பெற முடியும் என்று நினைத்தேன். Very simple. கூகுள் போட்டு இந்த கடிச்சு பொதறி கொத்தி ஓகே கொத்து பரோட்டா போட்டு வச்சு நெக்ஸ்ட் look at that and because of that see semicolon go on. And because of that, I was also a person with confused priorities. அதனால எனக்கு என்ன பண்றது ஏது பண்றதுன்னே தெரியல. எதை பண்ணலாம் எதை பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு தெரியல. That's the meaning. In English there is a phrase called confused priorities. நம்ம கூகுள் என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னு பாருங்க மெஷின். Right? அதன் காரணமாக நானும் குழப்பமான முன்னுரிமைகள் கொண்ட நபராக இருந்தேன். Okay? So to grab not close to you. The reading must touch your heart, reach your mind, quickly grasping it, make you feel at home, or you have to make it has to make you comfortable. But here it says, அதன் காரணமாக எனவே enough. எனவே நானும் குழப்பமான முன்னுரிமைகள் கொண்ட நபராக இருந்தேன். So I am familiar sentence. Next. The more I came out of my shell and started to see real people and real problems, the more I started seeing life for what it was. Okay? Right? The more I came out of my shell and started to see real people and real problems, the more I started seeing life for what it was. அசலான மனிதர்களையும் அசலான சூழ்நிலையை பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா வாழ்க்கை புரிய ஆரம்பிச்சு. இதுதான் சொல்ல வரேன். கூகுள் என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னு பார்ப்போம். நான் எவ்வளவு அதிகமாக என் ஷெல்லில் இருந்து வெளியே வந்து உண்மையான மனிதர்களையும் உண்மையான பிரச்சனைகளையும் பார்க்க ஆரம்பித்தேன், அவ்வளவு அதிகமாக நான் வாழ்க்கையை பார்க்க ஆரம்பித்தேன் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு. ஆனா கமா இன்னொரு வருது வாழ்க்கையை பார்க்க ஆரம்பித்தேன். My God, it's quite impossible. வாழ்க்கையை பார்க்க ஆரம்பித்தேனோ அவ்வளவு அதிகமாக வாழ்க்கையை புரிந்து கொள்ள ஆரம்பித்தேன். It's very simple. நான் எனது ஷெல்லில் இருந்து வெளியே வந்து ஷெல் கூகுள் மண்டை காஞ்சிருச்சு. ஷெல்லுக்கு என்னையா போட்டு தொலைகிறது போடு ஷெல்லையே போடு வடமொழியை போட்டு இல்லைன்னு போட்டு வச்சிருச்சு. It is very simple. Right? என்னுடைய குறுகிய வட்டத்திலிருந்து வெளியே வந்து எவ்வளவு தூரம் அசலான மனிதர்களையும் பிரச்சனைகளையும் பார்க்க ஆரம்பித்தானோ அவ்வளவு எளிதாக வாழ்க்கை எனக்கு புரிய தொடங்கும். It's very simple. Google Translation complicates it. Where is Kamal? He is busy. He was arguing, translation is dead easy, sir. Translator, Paka translation. He has not tried. So he says that possibly he must have done a single sentence translation. That's good for translation. It doesn't mean that I refuse that you cannot refer a Google Translator at all. You can do that. You can do that. A lot of proofs can be got from it. Okay, but the thing is, you are forgetting. Oh, this is it. Okay, I will phrase it. This is all. Then go proceed. You will do it. Okay. If you go and correct it, then you will be terribly discouraged. Okay. So don't go near. Don't touch it. Look at that. Understand it because there may be some words you may not understand. Shell. No, the shell. Okay. So you know, right? That's what he is meaning by shell. Okay. Right. Next. Another example. See, like the most kids of my age, for school life, plus 2. They get first level. What does he say? Like most kids, with most kids of my age and background, no big picture emerged for a pretty long time, and I just couldn't figure out why I was doing what I was doing. Right? Then why is he in the first இது வரைக்கும் என்ன பண்ண போறோம் எப்படி பண்ண போறோம்னு அப்பா அம்மா காட்டலையா அப்பா அம்மா ஆசையா பையன் ஏதாவது பெருசா பண்ண போறான்னு ஒன்றும் நடக்கீங்க இதுதான் அவர் சொல்ல வர கூகுள் டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டர் என்ன பண்ணுது பாருங்க எனது வயது மற்றும் பின்னணியில் உள்ள பெரும்பாலான குழந்தைகளைப் போலவே நீண்ட காலமாக பெரிய படம் எதுவும் வெளிவரவில்லை படம் வெளிவருதான் என்னது ஓகே ரைட் so naturally you can't do that right நானும் என்னவோ ஆக போறேன்னு எங்க அப்பா அம்மா எதிர்பார்த்தாங்க ஆனா அப்படியெல்லாம் எந்த ஒரு பெரிய சித்திர தீர்மானம் அவர்களுக்கு ஆட்டவில்லை it's as simple as that you can make it okay that way next one is right it was a mad rush for passing both the board and the inevitable competitive exams that was the focus of the school and the point of being away from home அது ஒரு பைத்தியக்காரத்தனமான போட்டி எது +2 பாஸ் பண்றது என்ட்ரன்ஸ் பாஸ் பண்றது இதுக்காக நான் வீட்டு விட்டே தள்ளி இருக்கிற வாசல்ல இதுதான் அந்த ஸ்கூலோட நோக்கமாக இருந்தது this is what he said கூகுள் டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டர் சொல்றது பாப்போம் போர்டு மற்றும் தவிர்க்க முடியாத போட்டித் தேர்வுகள் இரண்டிலும் தேர்ச்சி பெறுவதற்கான வெறித்தனமான அவசரம் அது பள்ளியின் மையமாகவும் வீட்டை விட்டு வெளியேறும் புள்ளியாகவும் இருந்தது my goodness okay so Google Translator is unreliable don't think that technology is at hand for you to help you it distorts actually it also misinforms right okay so இந்த இடத்துல என்ன மீன் பண்றாங்க காம்படிட்டிவ் எக்ஸாம் என்ன போட்டுருக்காங்க போட்டித் தேர்வு okay competitive exam here means the entrance the university entrance mostly okay so naturally நுழைவு that's enough okay board exam என்ன போடுறதுன்னு தெரியல அப்படியே போர்டுமே போட்டேன் ஆக்சுவலா மேல்நிலை பள்ளி தேர்வு வாரிய தேர்வு not necessary +2 exam is enough you know that's what he is talking about so write it down that's enough next so what you have to learn right in general about that guidelines of translation is right proficiency in the source language efficient handling of target language and the knowledge in the domain concerned right if it is +2 then you have to write +2 if it is Anna University entrance examination the writer is meaning then you have to write knowledge that is domain knowledge okay this is common sense understanding as well as if it is from quantum physics or chemistry then you have to refer okay if you go and register yourself in translationdirectory.com you are likely to get even a chemistry document or a physics document or a human anatomy and physiology or even a medical document you can translate it if you don't know in some words for example lobotomy nowadays at the click of a finger you can reach the whole world lobotomy is a removal of part of a brain some part of the brain is removed that is lobotomy Okay. Then naturally you can use that word or you can straight away translate it. Okay. Right. So that is a knowledge of the domain concept. Next slide. Right. So what is the proficiency in the source language? Okay. Right. Naturally, it is sensitivity to the linguistic nuances of the language and grammatical rules and discursive conventions of operation of the communicative function of the language. How, right? In a sentence by sentence or word by word, meaning is not deciphered, but taking it as a one whole only we decipher the meaning. That's what you have to understand. Then what is efficiency in handling the target language? That is your language. You have to be familiar with the written discourse, right? Spoken discourse and written discourse are two different entities, right? When you are speaking, you take a lot of break, or you can be disconnected or fragmentary. Still, the meaning is conveyed because in the face-to-face conversation, right, language takes only 7%, 0.7%. How it is managed? You mean really? Yes. Right? If you have a tape recorder fixed in the front side, the front portion of the house, if somebody is coming, what automatic if my wife is there, she opens the door, she asks the same. So face, body features, all things are doing, managing. So in face-to-face conversation, language plays only 7%. This is a research analysis data. Right? All other are taken care of by the voice modulation, body posture, and the tone, tenor, feeling, and all that. But all on the page is written discourse. If the translation is right, yeah, serious written business, then you have to be very careful about how written discourse is there in a language, both in your mother tongue as well as the target. I have been reading it for so many years, right from Sondelian Kalvadin Kadali, in those days, 35, 40 years ago, right, up to latest novels and poems. So naturally, you have a lot of structures, vocabulary base here, which will automatically come out and help you in your translation. Right? In the same way, you should have a thorough reading, like our Saudeshwari boy, right? Karthi Davinci. You have to read a lot in your target language also, or source language also. Then only you can be very proficient in translation. Yes, next. Look at that. See, I told you that Tamil translators who have registered in the translationdirectory.com tops in Indian language. The second is Malayalam. One is 963, another one is 700 and something. Do you know who is topping there in the world languages? Russia. Okay? Because right from those days, they wanted to spread their ideology, spread their growth, prosperity to the world. In fact, Russia was quickly prospering after 1917 revolution. Socialist Russia. So naturally, in my school days, I used to see the books in A3 size. Soviet Russia. So many books, Max Namakkal, Villanov. So many books were translated into Tamil. So particularly Tamil. Still, voluminous books, novels, poems, everything was translated. Right? Now they are all stopped because Russia failed in 1980s and naturally realized its unnecessary expenses and stopped. Okay? So translation is in the modern era largely done only in Russia. So Russian translator registered in translated directory.com is 7,599. Okay, so he is an experienced man. Who is this? Namakkal. He says there are 3 sins in translation. What are they? Right? Ignorance and misunderstanding. Okay. Right? Competitive exam. What is there? Actually, plus 2 there. Entrance, sorry. Entrance. Okay. Then leaping over unfamiliar words. Shell up. Okay. Then simplifying you are flattening it. ரொம்ப எளிமைப்படுத்து. Okay, what I said was only a spoken discourse of the Tamil name. அப்படிலாம் எழுத முடியாது. அதுக்குன்னு ஒரு கன்வென்ஷன். There is sort of a higher level discourse, written discourse, especially when you are translating the document. So naturally, you have to use a particular variety of language. Okay, right. Next. Right. Other gray areas. Okay, words. Words can also be a problem. Look at that. Ask, listen, hear, obey are all the synonyms as per thesaurus, as per dictionary. No, not at all. Okay. Today, this morning, when I saw the newspaper, it was there. The Gyavi case used to be here today also. But okay, இன்னைக்கு ஞானயாபி வாரணாசியில் உள்ள ஞானயாபி சிவாலயத்தினுடைய கேஸ் இன்னைக்கும் கேட்கப்பட உள்ளது அப்படி எழுது. இன்றும் அது விசாரிக்கப்பட உள்ளது. சார் என்கொயரி இல்லையே. No word translation at all as far as translation is concerned. Right? Ask, listen, hear, obey are all same only. Right? Listening. But this is a legal register. Right? நீங்க சட்டபூர்வமான ஒரு வார்த்தையை தான் அந்த விளக்கு இன்னைக்கு விசாரிக்கணும். Or you can say இன்னைக்கு ஞானயாபி சிவாலயம் வழக்கிலே வாதங்களை இன்றைக்கும் நீதிபதி கேட்க உள்ளார். இவ்வளவு பேசாஸ் கியர் வார்த்தை வாதங்களை கேட்க உள்ளார். That's what the meaning. So that these are the problems you have to be very careful about. Right? Next. Right? Of course, idioms will also be a terrible problem. Look at that. I have given 3 words. Go getter nu போட்டுட்டான் ஒரு புக்ல. தலைப்பே அதுதான். Okay? இன்னொரு ace investigator. Okay, ace investigator. Another one, missile man. Okay, go getter. I searched all the dictionaries, online, offline. Nowhere it was found. Go getter. அதுக்கு என்னமோ போட்டு வச்சு கோ கேட்டா கோடி அப்படின்னா பிடிச்சு ரைட் இல்லைன்னா இன்னொன்னு கொடுத்த வேலையை முடிச்சுதான் திருப்பி வரும். எழுதுதான் என்னையா நிக்கிறோம் அவ்வளவு பேர் சேர்த்து சார். ஓகே, so remember I recollected, okay, explored all my vocabulary data in my mind. At last I found the word vidakanda. Okay, தலைப்பு கோ கேட்டர்ஸ்க்கு vidakanda. That's possible. Yes, investigator. Yes, is a sports vocabulary. Teacher tennis ball அப்படியே அவங்க போய் அதை எடுக்கிறதுக்குள்ளே போயிடும். அதான் ஏஸ். எத்தனை ஏஸ் போட்டாங்க அதுதான் ஒருத்தருடைய கிராண்ட் ஸ்லாம் சாம்பியன்ஷிப்பை டிசைட் பண்ணும். ஓகே, 16 ஏஸ் போட்டுருக்காங்க. இவங்க 12 தான் போட்டுருக்காங்க. இவதான் ஜெயிப்பாங்க. ஓகே, ஏஸ் இன்வெஸ்டிகேட்டர் போலீஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல ஏஸ் இன்வெஸ்டிகேட்டர் இப்படி பேர் வச்சிருக்காங்க. அப்போ அவன் தொட்டான்னா அதை கேஸ துப்பறிச்சு முடிக்காம போட மாட்டான். என்ன போட முடியாது? ஏசுன்னு எப்படி போடுறது? அப்படியே போடக்கூடாது. நபாபோ சொல்றாரு சின்னுன்றாரு. ரைட்? அப்படியே ஓவர்லுக் பண்ணக்கூடாது. அப்ப யோசிச்சு பார்த்தேன், ரைட்டிங்கும் வருது ஏஸ் இன்வெஸ்டிகேட்டர். சோ குதிரை புலின்னு போட்டேன். ஓகே, சோ somewhat acceptable and relating to the original. Missile man, ஏவுகணை மனிதன். ஏவுகணை மனிதன் மனுஷனை கட்டி ராக்கெட் போடுறாங்களோ செத்து போயிடுவானே. So missile man cannot be translated word for word. அப்ப missile man யாரு? உரி வச்சு அடிக்கிறான். அப்ப அது தமிழ்ல என்ன இருக்கு? சொல்லி அடிப்பாரடி. அப்ப அதுதான் போடும். இப்ப சொல்லி அடிப்பவர் இது தவிர வேற இல்ல நேச்சுரல். ஓகே, so next. So as far as the grammar is concerned, you have to maintain the voice, active voice and passive voice. Kondrana passive voice பண்ணப்பட்டார். You have to maintain that. Tense, present tense, past tense, present tense, past tense மாத்தணும். Okay, so that's the general rule. And then brevity of wording, very important. Translation, when you are doing a translation, normally if it is a 10-page document, you are likely to make it a 18-page document. That should be avoided. 10 maybe 11 or 12, or even 9, not less than that, not more than that. Okay, so brevity. maximum, try for the economical, okay, phrasing. That will be the good aspect of the welcome aspect of the translation. Next, ambiguous sentences of different meanings is allowed to be rendered into its popular meaning. Okay, if it is an ambiguous sentence, for example, a very successful man and a lady behind. Okay, that is interpreted in so many ways today. But what is popular meaning? Over nowadays people say, okay, person, right? God is taking on a custody by Pinadi mother. The actual meaning every successful man or lady pushed behind. Okay, that's what women say. Feminists say. So popular meaning, that's the translator's advice. Okay, right. Next. Right. The same way, this is a dialect. Register, for example, a legal register, Visarani, okay, sentencing, so this is all you have to be very careful about. Dialects, register, idiolecture. Idiolecture, one is a peculiar way of saying. Okay, for example, you see, of course, in the very clear. There was a girl from a fishing. Right? So, so every place for Bina, Gudra and Polama and Jalia Vici, or Polama. Okay. But Gudra and the mother, Gudra, I mean, I'm so. Right? Of course, you cannot write it. This is what is called idiosyncratic. In the mind of a character or the particular writing in the time, you have to be conscious. That is what is called idiolect or register writing, right? Okay. Then dialect writing, Tutukudi. Tutukudi every place one. Correct? Tutukudi. Whenever say either, okay, right? So if it is a Tutukudi story, you have to say written it. Okay. Right. In the same way, in Bogle. Yeah. Okay, that will have to read that. Yes. See, I have two examples for you. One is the loss acts. Identity loss acts. One is one from Tamil to English. Bama's Karuk novel. Bama's Karuk novel. Okay, Karuk is the title of the novel. She is a school teacher. And we have a woman from a downtrodden class, right? Socially disadvantaged class. She has written a novel. It's about her own background. Or a slum. Okay, and every place pacha place. And the translate for London. MA English. Okay, or English can Lakshmi Armstrong. What the problem is that and the full put review see in the slum, especially in the Seri, they will use all obscene languages. That was a complaint against the bomb. So the refinement has spoiled the identity of the slum. Okay, right. Another one. Paul has journey road red tea. This is a novel. Another point. Okay. The red tea is a Paradise Padama. All over. Tamil the Padichi Bhakta, Rohani the Padichi. Edra is a Padama and Janari award. Okay. But it is a novel written by a Tamilian, wrote in English. The novel's name was a red tea. Right? Every English is too good to the theme exploit okay, but see like wife on okay, right? இல்ல நியாயமாக எங்க வந்தது? தூத்துக்குடி dialect. This is a Toothukudi story. In English, you cannot do that. But the translator, Murugavel, ada அப்படியே தூத்துக்குடினா அந்த டைரக்ட் இருக்கு. மொத்த ஒரிஜினலோட பிச்சிட்டு போயிடுச்சு. So on the gain and the loss. So you have to be very careful about these features in translating words. Okay, look at that. Next. See, red tea, Murugavel translated. எரியும் பனிக்காடு. இதெல்லாம் பரதேசிகள் அவர் மாத்தி அவர் ஒரு பேர் வச்சு பாலபுரமா எடுத்தார். But டைட்டிலேயே பிரச்சனை பண்ணிருக்கேன். Of course, this book was released in Europe, Mayura Hotel. I was there. I was talking to Murugavel. தலைமைக்கு மாத்தி வச்சிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னு. பனிக்காடு எப்படிங்க எரியும்? முதல்ல ஒரு ஆக்சிமோரானா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சென்ஸ் வார்த்தை விட்டுட்டேன். இப்ப பாருங்க டைட்டில் ஒரு இதுக்கு எவ்வளவு பெரிய மீனிங் இருக்கு. Red tea is a type of tea cultivated in Ooty. Red tea is there, green tea is there, black tea is there. Go and type in Wikipedia. Google types of tea types. You will see a lot of them. And there is an implication meaning, implicit meaning. Red tea, அவரோட ரத்தத்திலே இருந்து விளைஞ்ச டீ, அதனால சிவப்பா அங்க விளையிறது ரெட் கலர் டீ வெரைட்டி. சோ ரெட்டா தான் இருக்கும். ரெண்டு மீனிங். இது என்னவே தெரியாம எரியும் பனிக்காடுன்னு போட்டுட்டாரு. Because the book is a success, so wonderful, better than the original. But the title is lost. Title is even faulty. Original quotation. Okay, next. Come on, Lakshmi Armstrong. Karku. She cannot translate the title. Karku. So in English also Karku. English dictionary Karku. Translate பண்ண முடியாது. What is Karku? Well, somebody knows that. Karku is the side portion of the palm leaves stem. பனமட்டையோட சைடுல அந்த தண்டுல இருக்கும். கையை வச்சிட்டு அப்படியே பீச்சு. That is Karku. Another meaning புதுசு. எதுக்கு இந்த சர்டிபிகேட் கொடுத்த? புது கருக்கு கூட ஐடியா வந்தது. So new. Okay. Another Karku. Okay, sharpness. புலி. அதுக்கு பேர் கருக்கு. என்னது கருக்கு பேர் தீக்கோடா. Then another Karku, ganja. That is also called Karku. Okay, so many of them. Another Karku is burning. என்ன வாழக போயில கறிக்கு எடுத்துட்டா? Okay, verb. So she could not translate it. Lakshmi Armstrong title justified but content native identity lost. Okay, next. In the same way, words denoting relationship. Okay, then exclamation. Ayo, English every translate பண்ணுவாங்க. Okay, right? You cannot translate. So you have to be very careful. Right? Exclamation. Sounds which have to be rendered by identifying the appropriate equal. You get something in English. Okay, this is an exclamation mark. Okay, look for that. Yeah. That's enough. Okay, right. Then symbolic meaning, implicit meaning, apparent meaning. We have seen that. Friendly. Right. Then the last one is you have to do back translation. Okay, what is back translation? In translation theory, back translation is if you take your translated word and you translate it back to English, that's the correct. Retranslation சொன்னா ரெண்டாவது வாட்டி translate பண்ணணும். அது இல்ல. இது back translation. You translate back to its original. அந்த இங்கிலீஷ்ல அதே மாதிரி வாங்க. அதுனால நீங்க கரெக்ட்டா பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. சார் ஒரு புக் ஃபுல்லா எடுத்து மறுபடியும் எல்லாத்தையும் back translation பண்ணி பாருங்க. Yes, it's a laborious job. That's why they are paying one penny for one word. Okay? So it's a very toxic business, but you can still do it once you learn it. எப்படி பண்றாங்க பாருங்க ஜி குப்புசாமி 30 வருஷமா. Okay, இந்திரன் ராஜேந்திரன் எப்படி 40 வருஷமா பண்றாரு. Once you learn the trick of the trade, you will do it. If you go to சிவகாசி அந்த நெருப்புஷி அழுகிறத பாத்தீங்கன்னா பட் அப்பா இல்ல மனுஷனா மிஷினா கரகரகரன்னு அடிச்சு வச்சா இதுக்கு டப்பால் போட்டு லேபர் ஒட்டி சுத்தி அதுல இன்னொரு பண்டில் போட்டு பார்த்து பார்த்தா என்ன நடந்ததே தெரியாது அதுக்குள்ள பண்டில் அங்க போயிடும். If you go to திருப்பூர் how they fold the dresses and put it in the pocket and then put the slip into it in other. Go faster. So if you learn all these things, it will be very quick. So I wish you all to register yourself in translationdirectly.com, and I want to see all your names like Hati Davinci and Sridevi Nakshi. Okay, one day. Right. Any questions? Thank you, all of you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. We came to know from your speech, code mixing, code shifting, unknown translator, Chinmayi, Bhartiya, and other eminent translators, and translationdirectory.com. Then, tips for translating text from source language to target language, types of problems in translation, pitfalls of Google translation, and back transformation, and so on. So it's really very impressive and mind-blowing. Sir, thank you so much.
At the outset, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the management of this institution, Kandaswamikandar College, respected principal of this college, and the head of the department, Krishnadat sir, and the faculty members of English department, delegates, participants, and my dear students. I hope all of you had your sumptuous lunch. It's really a difficult session for all those who are going to present the papers because audience will be in a greedy world. So to bring them to the real world is really a difficult task, but we tried our level best, especially the presenters. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the paper presenters who are going to present their thoughtful, thought-provoking ideas in the form of words. So I hand over the session to the paper presenters. First, I request Bhuvaneshwari to present her ideas.
Very good afternoon to one and all present here. Myself, Comorin. Today I'm going to present a paper about indigenous culture and food recipes of Geechee people in Entezaki, Shanghai, Sassafras, Cyprus, and Indigo. So most of the research papers and articles have been focused on social issues or racial discriminations or cultural identities or identity of oneself. But I would like to focus on how food recipes have been used by Sean Gay in her novel to propagate how it is important in one's culture and the development further. So it is a novel which is written during the postmodern period. So the main focus of the novel is to explore and to exploit how Black women in American country, had faced several hurdles to establish their identity. Though they were well educated and equally qualified as the white, but they were always at the stage of suppression because of the racial discrimination. They were always suppressed by the white supremacy. But the author, Entezaki Shanghai, in her novel included all the possible elements which are more performative than the works written by white people. So what she thought was not only the hurdles and the processions or the lifestyle would never determine the originality of particular culture or particular community of people. So she included food recipes in her novel, which enhance the importance of one's culture. So even from their habit of cooking and eating, and when they are preparing the recipes and why they are preparing the recipes matters as the words we are using to convey our ideas to communication. So she entitled the novel with possible traditional, that is Gula culture. The name of their culture is Gula culture. So she included all the traditional recipes followed by Gula people in African country in the foreign soil, that is in America. So Africans are being brought into America as a slaves, but they settled there in the streets of Charleston Street, South Carolina, and that place became the hub for their culture. So most of the Gula culture people have been settled there, and they found their own community as we have no. So as the same they had. So though they were dominated or overpowered by whites, they never let their culture down, even in their food items. Though they didn't get as the same ingredients from their own native land, that is in Africa, but they tried hard to get the ingredients, and they started following their own traditions. So she opens the novel with the word "a moon falling from her mouth." So most of the tribes have been, or the people from Africa, is always known for their magical spells and their cartographies and their artistic works like knitting dolls or making dolls or knitting the crochets and all. So they are known for their own traditions also. They followed a very different kind of tradition in their life. So the author of the novel opens the novel with the word "a moon falling from her mouth." So that, which means they were like that is girls from that particular community is considered as serene, and they were tend to acquire the superstitious past from their ancestors. So the central character of the novel, Indigo, has been portrayed as the girl who possessed the magical spells and the superstitious past from her ancestors. And she had two sisters who have been sent to New England and New York to pursue their dreams and to continue their work, but they have never let the supremacy of white to accumulate their tradition. So though they were being with the people of American culture, they never let their own culture to down. So they used to follow the culture even in their even in their professional places also. And they had different types of recipes to celebrate the different types of occasions. Like to celebrate Christmas, they had separate set of recipes. To express their grief, they will prepare certain different types of recipes. To express their happiness, they used to prepare some other recipes. To tempt others, so they used to prepare some other recipes. Even they had prepared, they are making dolls for the children to play. They used to reflect their culture even in their doll making also. So they used different types, that is their own traditional method of making dolls. So which is completely unique from other culture. So this is how Shania had been constructed her plot throughout the novel with the entanglement of culture, nature, and the importance of female in the livelihood of beloved people. So some of the techniques she used are, she used to represent letters, magical spells, cartographies, journal entries, and recipes. So in one of her letters to her daughter Indigo, Ephania had mentioned that they had a traditional method of making canned tomatoes and preserved pickles, because every one of us used to have pickles at our home. But their way of making it is completely different and it tastes different. So while reading the recipes or the procession of preparing that recipes, it feels like how we feel that like if you are hearing the words, in the sense we will be enjoying the meaning, right? So as they say, while reading the recipes of their food, we just started tasting the spices they had been used. So she had written that much influential. In fact, the food recipes included in her novel is more performative than any other characters in the novel. So it shows that how food recipes also played a vital role in the enhancement of certain culture and the enhancement of certain people of particular community and all. So one of the cultural theorists, Mary Douglas, in her work Purity and Danger, she stated that is food is considered as sacred and profane because it shows how they were interlinked with each other and the interconnectedness between the people and the culture and their livelihood. And as also the Doris Witt, she said that words have been here, that is the recipes should be tasted as it entangles the psychic environment of US of 20th century and the importance of Black women in the enhancement of their community and to establish their identity among the white supremacists. And so Kalita is one of the critic of Ntozake Shanye's work. She said that I didn't want readers to skip over the recipes or they would lose that sense. So she means that one should not skip the recipes because while we are reading some short stories in our mother tongue, in the sense, we will skip some unnecessary parts like comic elements or pictures and all. But what she advised the readers is not to skip the recipes because if they skip the recipes, in the sense, they would lose the connectivity. So how the character really feels when the recipe is preparing. So she advised the readers to read the complete recipe of complete ingredients and the procession of a recipe in order to maintain the flow of the story or flow of the mentality of that particular character. And this work, that is the Sassafras, Cypress and Indigo, it is interconnected with another novel of her own, that is another work of her own. If you know cook or you can know God can. So it is one of her another work which is considered as a cookbook. So what critics and some thinkers thought is how we people are preserving the ancient antique elements. So as the same cookbooks have been memorialized and it should be kept preserving for the future generations. So throughout the novel, she had used various recipes through the various characters. So the most prominent among them is Ephania, that is the mother of those three daughters. She used to suggest various recipes to her daughters while they were in different state of mind. And Shanti not only enclosed the food recipes, she also used photographies, which is used to cure some little wounds of their mind and also as well as their physical body, because they have certain methods of medications. So that is completely based on their experience or completely based on their own experiments. So they did not tend to use American tradition. That is, they always stick on with African, that's their own original tradition. So this shows that how it is important to be one with their own culture and tradition in order to keep themselves progressing towards the development. Some of the recipes are like when Sassafras had been in problem with her beloved, so she started moving to New York to stay with her sister Cyprus. So she prepared some recipes to comfort her. So this shows that even they don't need any counseling or psychologist to pacify their mind. So even the food can do the same. So they always tend to use their own traditional method of keeping their mind calm and to make themselves to be very strong and all. So this is how Shani had included various recipes and various forms of narrative techniques and the various medications and the rituals performed to enhance their own identity and their entire community of Gula people. Thank you.
Very good presentation. Her ideas, the language, fluency, vocabulary, everything is extraordinary.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Audience, what do you learn from her presentation? What idea you got? சார் கேள்வியெல்லாம் கேட்குறீங்க, நாங்களே சிவனேரம் வந்து உட்காந்துருக்கோம், எங்களை தயவு செஞ்சு தொந்தரவு பண்ணாதீங்க. That's what going on in your mind. I can read it. But you might have listened to something. What is that? She talked about the culture, the tradition, and the food recipe. So what kind of observation you have made? Can anyone? Or any questions? Sir, I don't understand this part, sir. Can you make the presenter to explain? Is anything like that? Sir, இது எதுவுமே புரியல, ஏதாவது சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறீங்களா? See, naturally, culture and the food habit, they always go together. This you will realize when you go abroad or to any other states. Recently, I went to Maharashtra. I felt fish out of water. Normally, we used to have our breakfast, for our breakfast, idli or whatever it is. It is quite easy for us, comfortable for us, because we used to do that. But in the other states, especially in the North India, they don't have that kind of habits. They always go for chapati or some other roti or something. But when we go out of our own country or our own state, it's really difficult for us because it is connected to our culture. Even for the breakfast or dinner, breakfast. The வார்த்தை எங்கிருந்து வந்துச்சுன்னு தெரியுமா உங்களுக்கு? Breakfast. Yeah, we are fasting the bread. For the Western people, when they finish their dinner at 9 o'clock at night, they don't eat for a very long time, especially at night. Night alone சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க. It's kind of a fast. And in the morning, they break their fast. It's from that concept, the word is coined breakfast. So, food habits and culture are that much related to us. That's what the paper presenter did it. And it's quite remarkable. Any other observations we want to make?
I think our taste also going to be our reflects our my turn. If we are cooking in a happy mood, the taste and as well as aroma comes well. Do you know that? But we are in a confused state or tension state. The taste does not come well. I think so. Food also psychologically connected with that's why.
And has taken the study to the next level, psychological level. If you cook for your beloved one, you take utmost care and you try your level best to make the food more tasty so that you can have a welcoming note from the guest. But if you don't like somebody, you will think, you will be bothered. You will be bothered, இது போதும் அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு மென்டாலிட்டி நமக்கு வந்து. So it also, food is also related to our psyche also. That's what man says. Good. Thank you, Madam Bhuneshwari. Next, Deepa Sri. Yes, silence please.
Myself, and first I am going to present my topic on Indian literature. Indian verse by Sarojini Naidu. The poem Indian verse is written by Sarojini Naidu. The poet has conveyed our emotions in simple language. The poem begins by asking questions. The poem gives certain information about the time of the day and the color of the god before using the question and answer form. The Indian verse is a short poem consisting of 3 quatrains. The poem talks about three types of garments that Indian heroes wear at the particular times of the day. Each stanza of the poem represents three important events of life. Important events of human life: birth, adulthood, and death. And she relates them to different colors and different periods of the day. The poem has been structured in the question and answer form. The color mentioned in the poem was very significant as they indicate the moods and the events related to the poem. The poem is a symbolic representation of man's journey from birth to death. The symbolism used in the poem was blue color indicates loyalty and duty. The purple color and the green color symbolizes the ups and downs of life that make adulthood bright. In the last stage, all colors vanish away and remains only a single color that means white, which means eternal peace. Thank you.
How beautifully you present. Why is this nervous? When you are on the stage, just think that nobody knows it. Only you know that all all other feelings, including myself. Educated idiot, that's all. So if you have that confidence, you can. You know, Princeton Church, have you heard about it? Who is he? Princeton Church, it's a former US president. You know, the specialty of his life. He was not able to speak. He was not able to speak until he was 30 years old. He couldn't speak, but he tried a lot. He goes to seashore, he took the pebbles and put it in his mouth. He constantly practiced. After 5 years, at the age of 35, he became a versatile scholar. He became a great speaker. So constant practice always makes a man successful. So keep away your nervousness, your shyness. Get that confidence. We can. If we cannot, then who can? Okay. But nice presentation. She talked about earlier I was quite the Indian leaders. But next, I call Satirika.
Good afternoon, honorable present here. First of all, I thank kandaswamikandar College to give an opportunity to present my paper. First, my topic is gender and victimization in Margaret Atwood's Facing. This was the most famous novel by Margaret Atwood. Then this novel was nominated for the Booker Prize and also the Authors Award. First, I have given a small introduction about my author. She was the most famous Canadian author, and as well as she was a novelist, critic writer, and she was most nominated for 5 times Author Award and as well as Booker Prize Award. This was one of the impressive novels by the Margaret Atwood. In this novel, she describes about the unnamed protagonist. She doesn't have any name in this novel. Just the author mentioned the unnamed protagonist about one of the female character. This in that one of the female characters and this both female characters how they are facing their difficulties throughout the novels. The unnamed protagonist is one of the familiar in this novel. Then she was in searching of his father because her father was a disappearance in her early age. Throughout that novel, she was searching and she has only one information given by her father's friend Paul. Through that, she traveled to her hometown in Canada and pursued further. Through the journey, she was facing more and more struggles. How is women facing more struggles in normal life? Like that, the author given descriptions throughout this novel with an unnamed protagonist. This novel will be exclusively focused on the gender, victimization and feminization, hypersexuality, then other social issues, how the women facing throughout the life and how they are overcoming from that. Everything was included by the unnamed protagonist. The sense of the victimization is a part of the 2 female characters. That was one of the unnamed protagonists, and Anna. Different women are connected in this novel because of the female conditions. Thank you.
But so you concentrated on the gender issues in the Margaret Atwood science. How gender is defined? Because G.B. Shaw once said, we normally say Bernard Shaw is a socialist, but he wants to be called himself more than a socialist than the humanist. He doesn't want to be called as the what is it called, a feminist or a man chauvinist, but as a humanist. But we don't give much value to the concept humanism. நமக்கு பெண் அப்படின்னாலே ஒரு குறைந்த ஒரு மதிப்பீடு கொடுக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு காலமாக தான் இருக்கு. We understand we undervalue female and their achievements. But that is not the main concept of gender. What is meant by gender, especially in the market actors are facing? Any idea? Female or women, they are marginalized on various aspects because of economy, because of their familial circumstances. We don't give much importance to them. We think that it is better for them to remain at home. That's not so. God created them not for keeping them at home. They have to come out like everyone. They have equal rights. But mostly the people who are not properly educated in the sense psychologically, they think that human, it includes man, she, it includes he. Right? So female, they have equal rights, but they are not properly brought up. That's what Margaret Atwood in the novel Surfacing talked about. And victimization. They are victimized in many aspects. So, somebody thought we talked about very well. Any observations, any comments you want to make on the audience side? Okay, thank you. Can I follow on Mani? It's going to talk about the Indian themes of the English literature by R.K. Narayan.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Honorable President. Before my presentation, I must thank this institution for giving me this most wonderful opportunity for my presentation. This is Vanmati from Chanakuri. I am pursuing my second year in English, K.S. College of Arts and Science, Autonomous. I am going to talk about R.K. Narayan, the English teacher. The English teacher was a 1945 novel. It was written by R.K. Narayan. It is a part of series of novels and collection of short stories in a set of Malgudi. It was preceded by other two works such as Bachelor of Arts in 1937 and Sono and Friends in 1935. This novel is dedicated to Narayan's wife Rajan. It is not only an autobiographical novel but also poetic in an intensity of feeling. The story is a serious experience of R.K. Narayan as an English teacher. In Albert College, he led a monotonous life comparing to that of a cow. He took place an important role to protecting the Indian culture. Soon his life looks at turn when his wife Susila and his daughter Leela come to live with him. With their welfare on his hands, Krishna learns to be a proper husband and learns how to accept the responsibility of taking care of his family. He felt that he had a comparatively, he feels very happy with his family by comparing to be a teacher, a profession job. They lead a very happy life with his family. They are in searching of house. At the time, Susila diagnosed typhoid. Krishna pretends to be optimistic, but eventually his wife Susila had passed away. At the time, Krishna constantly tries to be optimistic, but after the death of Susila, Krishna lost her life, and he had a suicidal thought, but gives them up by the sake of her daughter Leela. He leads his life as a miserable person after her death. Meanwhile, his mother arrives to taking care of his daughter Leela. She even suggests him to marry again, but by the love of his wife, Susila, he denies to marry again. He receives a letter from a stranger who indicates that Susila have been in contact with him, that he wants to communicate with Krishna, he becomes more cheerful. This leads to Krishna's journey in search of an enlightenment, with the stranger acting as a medium to Susila in the spiritual world. Leela, on the other hand, goes to a preschool where Krishna gets to meet the HM, a profound man who cared for the students in the school. He teaches the moral man through his own methods. The headmaster puts the student as his top priority, but he does not care about her own family and children, eventually leaving them on the day. In this incident, Krishna Krishna tries to journey to be enlightened. He just came to know about this was the life to be an enlightenment. Eventually, Krishna learns to communicate to Susila on his own. Now he meets his love. By concluding the entire story, this journey also guides him to live in authentic involvement so that he may live an authentic life. Thank you.
So, very nice presentation. But what are the Indian themes you found in this novel?
Sir, here R.K. Narayanan protect Indian culture by giving lot of importance to wife. But with lot of novels, they talk about feminism. But here he loves his wife deeply. He gave lot of opportunity. He gave lot of freedom to his wife to taking care of family and also himself.
Very nice. So, give equal importance to wife first. That's what she found in the novel. Okay, thank you. Mr. Lenin. All right, on Kavipriya, he's here, we can come to Abhirami, Divya Bharati, Ima Maheshwari, Prabhu. Fine. Let Lenin come, and in the meantime, we discuss about the morning session. In the morning, we are listening to translation. What you learn from that translation? Sir, please don't ask any question. I am not asking question. Just your input. Now, sir, this is meant by translation. Normally, translation means we transform the word or a language from one form to another form. Or, in other words, we transform the idea, the meaning of the word from one language to another language. Is it translation? Translating the language from one to another? We can translate. Because translating the meaning from one language to another does not alone the translation means. I had a bitter experience. Have you heard about the name Noam Chomsky? Noam Chomsky. When I was studying my MA in Madras National College, he invited me for a lecture. He came, delivered, and made us wonders. And in the break, we asked the driver to take him to refreshment for refreshment. We instructed the driver, he is from foreign country, he doesn't know Tamil. So try to speak in English, whatever you want to convey. This is the instruction we gave to the driver. And both of them, they were the drive, they were on the car. Suddenly, something miserable happened. Noam Chomsky asked the driver, what happened, man? Why did you apply the brake suddenly? the driver, he should have conveyed the matter in Tamil. Noam Chomsky would have learned it better, but he made a mistake. He translated the Tamil incident into English by using the colloquial English. Sir, suddenly, mutton jumping, sir, putting brakes. He was shocked. Actually, he made a shot in his address in the hall, but the driver made him stop. He couldn't understand what is that mutton. என்ன சொல்ல வந்தேன்னா ஆட்டுக்குட்டி குறுக்க வந்துருச்சு, ஆட்டுக்குட்டி குறுக்க வந்துருச்சு, நான் சடனா பிரேக் போட்டேன். இதுதான் அவர் சொல்ல வரும். The driver translated into English. Mutton jumping, sir. Brake puttings. Of course, the meaning is conveyed. Communication is success. The process is success. But what about the language? The meaning is conveyed, but the language is very. So when we do translation, we have to be very careful because both the meaning and the language is not get lost. I asked one of my students, this is my humble request to the teachers, never ask any questions in the class, especially to the students. The kind of answer they give will make us terribly bad. Very simple thing. Usually I give motivational talks to the students because they always get bored. Even at the first step, at the stroke of 10, when they enter, they will speak. Sir, I do my duty, you do your duty. That's what they want to convey. So I usually give you some inspirational addresses. So one day I said, don't bother about anything. Do your duty. Don't expect anything. I asked one of the students to make a translation of this. Why don't you translate the sentence into English? I asked him. Suddenly, without any hesitation, without any delay, one of the students posed and said, sir, I got the translation. I'm ready with that. I was so happy how students are brilliant nowadays. Even I quoted, see, look this fellow, how brilliant he is. You are so lazy. You are what is it called? You are very, very, very poor. Then he gave this translation. What when will happen? That then will happen or happen. This is the translation. Of course, it is a translation. The meaning is conveyed. Either what? When happen. Other than that, then will happen or happen. This is the influence of the mother. When we do translation, we always come across this kind of hindrances of the influence of mother. So it's very difficult, but we can, as I say, if we have that passion, if we have that inspiration, we can achieve. See, we all know Shelley. Shelley, romantic poet, author of many poems. You will get an answer. Author of many poems. Which one you want me to say? So what do the rest mean? We know that it's a very famous poem, very optimistic. Optimism is the interesting thing that we must know. Because most of the students, they are always in a pessimistic. You know what is meant by pessimistic? The negative. And you have to get up and be, what's your life? How is your life? Their lives very uninteresting. We don't like it. This is the pessimistic tone that we get from the students. But Shelley is not like that. He's an optimistic person. He always wants to give the positive ideas to the students. That's what he says in the quote to the rest. If winter comes, can spring be far behind. And the same person, he says, sweetest songs are those that weep healthy, satisfactory. Can any one of you translate this word, this sentence in Tamil? Sweetest songs are those that tell the saddest tale. One poet, one Tamil lyricist did that. நான் சொல்றேன் அதுக்கப்புறம் உங்களுக்கு புரியும். Which songs are very beautiful? Which songs are very sweet? The sad songs. Only the sad songs are beautiful. Only the sad songs are sweet. Vairamuthu translated these words, these lines, beautifully into Tamil in one of his songs. முதல் மரியாதைங்கிற ஒரு பாட்டுல ஒரு சாங்ல சுகராகம் சோகம் தானே அப்படின்னு சொல்லு. சுகராகம் சோகம் தானே. It's a beautiful, exact translation of the Shakespeare's words. Sweetest songs are those that is satisfactory. Because what we see in our life, what reflected in literature, life is nothing but literature. It's a reflection of literature. That's what we are going to study. That's what we are studying in the literature. When we take the heroes of Shakespeare or the heroines of Shakespeare who are great, they are all one among us. Hamlet is here, Othello is here, Macbeth is here. They have certain weakness, a kind of inertia in their life. Othello is meant for this species. Macbeth is over-ambitious, like us. Some people are very ambitious. I want to become like this. I want to enjoy this. I want to get this amount of wealth. So we are all the Hamlets. We are all the Othelloids. So when we study literature, we also study life. So life and translation, life and literature, they are connected. They are one and the same. So when you do translation, be careful about the cultural words. In most of the words, the தாலிங்கிற வார்த்தைக்கெல்லாம் அவங்க முதல்ல இது கொடுத்தது கிடையாது. டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் முதல்ல கொடுத்துருந்தாங்க, சீக்ரெட் த்ரெட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கொடுத்துருந்தாங்க. இப்ப அந்த தாலியே யூஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சு. இந்த செம்மீன் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு நாவல் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த தாலிங்கிற அந்த வேர்ட் அப்படியே சிவசங்கர பிள்ளை அவர் எழுதின அந்த செம்மீன்கிற நாவல். ஸோ கல்ச்சுரல் ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ் and the traditional things are very, very important part in the translation. So அந்த translation பத்தி தான் காலையில் பண்ணாங்க. அது நீங்க என்ன தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டீங்க அதுல? Have you got inspired? Have you registered yourself in the translator directory? நேரத்துக்கு அதை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கணும். Sir, I registered myself. How many of you raise your hands? Sorry sir, internet இல்லை. Wait one minute வச்சுக்கலாம். We always go for excuses. So tomorrow we will do that. Tomorrow I will do that. We postpone the things like Hamlet. Hamlet postponed the things. That's why he failed in his life. He failed in his life. Actually, he wanted to kill his uncle for having murdered his father, but he postponed the opportunity, the golden opportunity, and he failed. So we should not be a Hamlet. Do it today. Undrum nandre sei, nandrum indre sei. That is the magical phrase. So do it now itself. Any matter? If anybody is ready with presentation, you can do on the spot next tempo. Come on, you can. I don't know anything. I'm absolutely zero. I don't know anything. Truly, I am blank. You know everything. You can speak.
No duty is more important and more urgent than giving thanks. So I would like to call upon Dr. M. Shami to propose word of thanks.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's my privilege to express my thanks to
all the people, those who were acknowledged the contribution, those who had worked really and for making this conference happen successfully. On the behalf of English department, first of all, I extend my thanks to the secretary of our institution for making this event resounding success with its blessing. On behalf of our English department, I extend my hearty thanks to our principal for giving his presence and making this occasion successfully. On behalf of our English department, I extend my hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Dr. P.Velur, who spared his time for his busiest schedule to grace this occasion. Today, we have an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown a new path to us. Now, I express my gratitude for Dr. Parthiban, Assistant Professor of Chikkanakar College, for being the third person in this conference, sharing his opinion today. Thank you, sir. Further, I big thanks to our organizing secretary for giving this chance to express my vote of thanks speech. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I also want to thank all the professors of English department for their cooperation for making this conference happen successfully. I express my hearty thanks to all the professors from other departments for giving their presence in this occasion. Last but not least, I want to extend a vote of thanks for organizing team for making this event happen so beautifully. I also want to thank to the efforts of our volunteers who worked dedicatedly for this conference. Then it comes to our technicians, without whom we couldn't have dreamt of this event. Thank you so much, guys. At the end, I would again like to grab this opportunity and thank our chief guest and our third person who participated in it. I hope we continue to work like this and organize such events in future for the betterment and upliftment of our students. Thank you, sir.
Punjab Sindh